What's good? What's good, y'all?
Welcome back, everybody doing well.
We're back.
Another one.
I don't know if y'all can't hear my
Another
soundboard,
one.
can y'all?
No.
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Well, they can hear it. What's good? What's good, y'all? What's good? Welcome back for the second week and the second episode of Control Alt Debate with myself, Logix. Y'all want to introduce yourself?
That's your boy Vibe. Nice to meet you all again, and I'm happy to be here, man.
Hey, hold up, Logix. Can anybody else hear an echo in Discord, or am I tripping?
No, I can't hear echo.
I can't hear anything echo.
Where is that coming from? My bad. Continue.
Well, it was on you, so.
Oh, my bad. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Watts TV. Glad to be here.
And I'm Sandra Faye, and I'm happy to be here too. You know, the token female of the group, ready to bring the heat.
Yeah,
the token. It's funny being a token anything, right? Well, you can't say you're the token black. You can't say you're the token black, so.
But I am the token woman.
Praise. But so today we have a topic: Black culture in America. Is it a strength or a struggle? So basically, the title is somewhat self-explanatory, but we basically going to get into topics surrounding what we deem is black culture and what we deem is as far as if it's productive in society, is it detrimental to society, is there somewhere in between where it can thrive? But before we get into it, I want everybody to kind of say how, I guess, Watch trying to figure that shit out. So I want everybody to kind of give their idea of what they see as black culture. Before we get into good or bad, you know, evil, whatever, just I want everybody to kind of give their perspective of what they see as black culture. So
we start with
Sandra, you go. We're gonna go Sandra, Vibe, then Watts, and then me, because he trying to figure his shit out.
Sounds good.
Or Sandra, cool. Vibe, me, Watts.
I got
Sounds
it.
good. Sounds good.
I'm straight.
Okay.
My bad.
All right. So, as far as black culture goes, I'm going to say the type of black culture I grew up with, because apparently it's completely different from the rest of black culture that folks grew up with. See, when I grew up, black culture was, you better do good in school. Don't come back with no funky ass grades. You better not act a fool when we in public, or I will take you to the bathroom and whoop your ass. Black culture was, you know, Sunday dinners at grandma's house. You know, you're not gonna walk out the house with dirty clothes. You're gonna walk out looking respectable, looking like you got some sense. Cookouts, spending time with your family reunions. You know, and then there was a religious aspect to it too. That's part of that culture that I grew up in. But a lot of it was very conservative, very wholesome, and very much so family oriented. So, you know, some families, they might, you know, be broken apart, but like the father might not be there or the mom might not be there or whatever it is, but the family in and of itself would come together to hold each other. And so that's the black culture I grew up with, but apparently it's a little bit different from other folks. Yeah.
Got you.
All right. For me, to be totally honest, I do relate with what you're saying, Sandra, when it comes to the ideology of what we consider black culture, because maybe we grew up in a pretty much majority black neighborhood, or most of the people we seen were doing those things collectively. But I don't know. I mean, I'm just gonna go ahead and jump straight into it, because I really can't define that as being black culture. I mean, Mexicans do that stuff that Sandra just stated. You know, white people do it. They just do it in a different way. Yeah, growing up in the 80s, for me, we couldn't go to Walmart and act a fool. We get our ass beat in public. Now we can't do that anymore because, again, it's child abuse. You know, so I don't know if we're going to really call that culture, or that was just a learning curve for what we have today. So I don't really know what black culture is. I'm gonna be totally honest. And that's just kind of the standpoint that y'all going to get from me today, because I really can't identify what that really is. So that's pretty much my answer so far.
Okay. Watch, you good or no?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm good.
Right.
So I guess my view is a little more like overarching, I guess. So when I think of Black culture, well, Black culture to me is creative, empowering, inspiring. It basically shaped the world from music to fashion to language and activism. It's basically about like turning, how should I say, struggle into creating something dope, something that's beautiful, like in the face of adversity. Whether it's from like the music and hip hop or like I don't know, like the power in spoken word, et cetera, or the push for just justice in general. Black culture constantly moves people. It builds pride, community. At its core, Black culture is about expression, identity, impact, et cetera, et cetera.
Damn, you snapped, nigga. The fuck? I was like you had me changing my thoughts on this answer. You feel me? I was sitting there. I'm like, I knew what I was gonna say. I'm like, damn, this nigga kind of spitting right now. No, but but to be honest, before I just heard that, you had me thinking a lot. But I was on the same page as Vibe. I don't really have a definitive answer for that question. I don't know how to answer it because, like, some of y'all know, I have this washcloth shit killing me. But
yo, that's my wife. Yo, she said washcloth.
But that shit funny. But I was on the same page as Vibe. I don't know how to answer that because I don't think we're a monolith, and I do think that a lot of what we deem as culture is just like your environment. I think a lot of it is your environment. You know, we all could have grew up very differently and be like, this is Black culture. And then there's somebody we could talk to that had something that we can't relate to even on the smallest level that grew up elsewhere as far as, and I think we can all agree when we talk about Black culture, it's going to be Black American culture. So that's what we're referring to.
Right.
So, you know, it's people that could be growing up in, you know, the outskirts of the biggest city in Montana that nobody knows the name of, that has a completely different experience of being Black. And I would never say they're not Black because we don't have that culture. So I'm kind of like Vibe, and I don't really know how to label what's Black culture. If anybody want to go from now.
Very interesting. I mean, to the point that, you know, it's just things that everybody does. See, the thing is, when you look at cultures, you know, all over the world, what you'll find is that, yes, a lot of cultures, the things that they do are very similar. It's just with a different flavor. And so, you know, when I think about Black culture, specifically Black American culture, I definitely agree with Watts because we literally do the blueprint for everything. Every single culture is trying to emulate us and adopt things that they see us do into their culture. So, and I can speak on this from experience, right? As some of y'all know, I lived in China for about 3 years, and the Black American influence is heavy. Okay. Just like the streetwear the way they dress, like you would think you was in the 90s. Okay, you would think you was in the 90s on the south side of Chicago.
Hold up. And the reason why I got to jump in here, Sandra, is because when you say Black culture influence, you have to delegate some type of, you know, attention to what Black wear. Are they wearing Sean John? Are they wearing, like, what Black designer are they wearing? Because the clothes that they're wearing isn't from a Black designer. The clothes I'm pretty sure that they're wearing is from either a foreigner or somebody else who's dictating what we should wear. We're the biggest consumers of anything. So I don't think Black culture is defined by what we do when it comes to creativity, because as Watt said, we are the biggest creators. I think it's defined about how we initiate the things we buy. Like the things we buy, the things we promote, because we're not creating those things. There's no culture where we're the creators of any of that. We just find out, like Tommy Hilfiger. Tommy Hilfiger used to be one of the biggest brands, as you mentioned, in the 90s. But Tommy Hilfiger didn't buy clothes or make clothes for Black people. Black people just bought the clothes and wore it a certain way. They had color palettes. They put this with this, you know. They wasn't buying the mannequins. They were creating the mannequins is what I'm saying.
Well, to be fair, sorry, Sandra, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you good.
But
No, you
but
good.
to Sandra's point, she's not necessarily saying that the clothes that they're wearing are manufactured or made for Black people. It's not what they're wearing. It's usually how they wear it. You know,
Exactly.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that per se, but it's about how we present ourselves. A lot of other countries, they do emulate that. And if we want to stick in Asia, one country that I can think of off the top of my head is Korea, South Korea. Just K-pop has taken so much influence from hip hop and both R&B. And that's just like one very small, minute example that I can come up with.
Well, I look
Yeah,
at
that's
K-pop.
absolutely true.
I look at K-pop as taking it from pretty much everything they do is Michael Jackson. Let's talk about that. It's Michael
Black.
Jackson. Michael Jackson's
Black.
What you mean?
Hold on. Michael Jackson took all his dance moves from a breakdancer, which we would consider a Black guy,
He did.
right?
Yeah.
Right. But the guy who actually created some of the first breakdance moves was white. So on that basis, back in it, go back and look at how when I think it was back in the 50s and 60s, these guys were not always Black. You know what I'm saying? All of the tap dancing, all of that stuff started from there. So on that basis, all I'm saying is there's a rooted metric in everything we're saying that dates back way farther. We can take the basis and say it was created by a Black person, but you go way back, the first initiated movement come from white people and other cultures as well, not just Black.
Can you give us a name? Because, and I just had to make sure that I was thinking of the correct individual as well. So from my understanding, breakdancing emerged in 1973 in the Bronx by DJ Kool Herc. So I don't know who you're referring to specifically.
No,
if you could give us a name.
I'm not talking about breakdancing itself. I'm talking about the dance movements in general, like tap dancing, like breakdancing started with tap dancing incorporated, and also ballet and stuff like that. So there's other movements that's incorporated within these dance moves. So yeah, things can be created or innovated on. All I'm saying is when it comes to what we consider Black culture, it can't always be wrapped around fashion and dance. Like that's the most minute thing we can discuss when we're mentioning Black culture.
Well, Watts
Exactly.
gave a
That's why,
bunch
like,
of shit
I
that
brought
was
up-
more than that. Oh, I'm sorry, Sandra. You was talking first.
No, well, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but like that's why I said, like when I initially brought on about what I perceive Black culture to be, I focus on the values, okay? Because a culture a culture is multifaceted, right? It does have to do with like the garb, what you wear, ceremonial clothing, okay, which we could get into about church fashion. That, you know, Black church fashion is a whole thing by itself. But even still, like the clothes you wear, the food you eat, the customs, you know, different things like that, all that goes into a culture. It's not just the clothes that you wear. But I did want to kind of make a point about this. Yes, it's not so much about like whether or not the brand is Black owned, but we do know when something is modeled off of things that we did as Black people. Like, for instance, you brought up Tommy Hilfiger in the 90s, right? The way, I forget the stylist name, the brother, he was like styling like Tupac and all of them in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
He was taking Tommy Hilfiger, Kyle Kanai, exactly. Mm-hmm. He was taking Tommy Hilfiger and styling in a way that transformed it into something else. And so now you have designers that are taking that blueprint. So the way he styled it, they're now creating, you know, clothing that already has that style in there. You don't have to copy and paste from here and there. But I also want to bring up, you know, think about like stores like Forever 21. Guess what? I could walk in there and buy a kimono. Okay. It is still representative of Japanese culture, even if it was made by some, you know, somebody that was from the Caucasus Mountains here in California somewhere, but it still has that rooting in Japanese culture, regardless of who made it. So when I go over to a China and I see them wearing clothes that look like they could have been styled by Karl Kanai, it speaks volumes, even with the way that they talk, even phenotypically. When I tell you the first time I saw an Asian dude walk in with some locks, and it looked like nappy kinky hair, and I was like, that's coming out of your head. They have a whole routine that they do. Like DJs, the Chinese DJs, they will go over there and they will do these, like, it's almost like a perm. It's an extreme version of a perm, and they will do it so that their texture looks like ours. And the reason being, because we are the blueprint for a lot of things, and our influence can be seen everywhere, and that speaks to part of our culture.
All right, so let's go this, because this is one of the things I was afraid that was going to happen with this conversation, is that we was going to get highly rooted in culture built off of what we consider hip hop and urbanized fashion. So I'm gonna ask everybody this question: outside of those things, name something else that would be considered Black culture. And I'm not talking about dealing with family, and I'm not talking about dealing with those I'm gonna say non-substance things, because those things are rooted throughout everybody's culture: music, dance, fashion. Asians have these type of things that they wear that, okay, well, we know when we see them, that's Asian culture. Can we talk about something that's more in depth when it comes to what is that culture? What is that most pivotal thing in the Black culture that says these people are a staple, or this thing is a staple in the collective? That's all I'm saying.
We don't flee. We don't flee.
We don't flee.
Pastor Joy said, I saw him saying it earlier, he said we make something out of nothing. He said that's something that Black people do. Yeah, somebody just said perseverance, like shit like that. It's not my answer, but I think that's a good one.
But what about like social and political movements? I mean, Black culture has always been deeply rooted.
We changed a lot of politics in America.
Yeah, we did.
The question is, did you change politics, or did politics realize that it was in need of change, and you just spoke on those things that
it wouldn't have happened if Black folks didn't do it? What incentive did they have to change?
Because financially, slavery didn't make sense to keep that going. So it had to change at some point.
Says who?
I was about to say there was a whole war.
They fought for that shit to the death.
Slavery, though. The war wasn't about slavery, though. The only reason slavery was brought into it, it wasn't about slavery.
It was about the Union.
And what did they want?
The only reason Lincoln went to go free the slaves was because he was trying to get them to uprise to help them fight the South. It had nothing to do with him not wanting slavery.
That's a separate conversation in itself. That is totally fine, and you are honestly probably right. But what was the war? Why was it started? What was this over?
It was over the Union.
Money.
Yeah, money, bro.
And what was the Union? Money. How are they raking in the money?
Slavery was losing money, bro.
I'm confused.
What?
I'm so confused.
No, it's totally fine. But
listen. Think about it. Right now, there's a form of slavery to keep shit cheap. Right now, right now, there's a form of slavery happening across the world to keep shit cheap. Right now, I don't know. Nobody's losing money off of. When, of course, it's not the same slavery we're talking about, but the slavery that them kids is doing in other countries to keep shit cheap for us, it's still a form of that happening right now. So I don't know what this idea of slavery was losing money.
Because you're talking about a dictatorship. You're talking about one ruler who's using slavery to make a lot of money for himself and his group of warriors. You're not talking about a whole country profiting and being profitable off of having slaves. You're talking about these dictatorships and these people who run their countries that way. So again, I don't want to stray too far from the basis of this conversation, because I'm still asking, that one major question. What is the thing that says we are a culture as a quote unquote Black people? Because all I'm hearing is perseverance. Cockroaches are very they survive the worst of worst. So are you comparing us to a fucking cockroach?
No, you did.
You literally did.
I don't want to hear that shit. That's the type of stuff that doesn't make sense when we're talking about culture.
But I gave you one. I literally said social and political movements.
So I don't think. I mean, okay, if Black people have persevered through all of the BS, right? And it's because of our activism and social and political, why are we still doing the same thing that we was doing 45, 50 years ago?
What you mean?
Why are we While the same
That's
movements.
because, this is where we're going to disagree, me and Watts, because I don't think that the social political thing was really a black thing. Okay. Now, if we want to talk about that, I can go off, and I don't think y'all will appreciate my opinion, but it'll be based in some real ass truth. So when we want to talk about like the political and social, justice movements that are put forth surrounding Black people, a lot of that is just a psyop. Okay, when we think about the civil rights movement, and I know I'm gonna piss some people off, it's a complete psyop, because guess what? Black people, we already had our own shit. We had buses, we had businesses. I don't give a good goddamn how many times they bomb it or burn it down. We had our own shit. And the reason why we started doing this civil rights shit is because we had people infiltrate our community and convince us that we needed to be a part of white shit to have it be valuable. Oh, it's not valuable unless it is connected to whiteness in some way, shape, or form. It made us devalue our businesses and seek to fight to patronize people who hated us. You could not pay me to let a motherfucker spit in my face to spend my money with them. You could not pay me to do that. And so we had a lot of money. That's the thing that people don't realize, is that there was a lot of money in the Black community during that time. Why? Because throughout slavery and Jim Crow, we were the ones who knew how to do the work. So they had to employ us. I
was about to say, then why weren't our resources up to par then? That's one of the main reasons why we wanted to integrate.
No,
how is that a psyop?
That's the side, but I'm gonna explain to you. We had the resources, but you had people infiltrate the community to get our minds fucked up. Because let me tell you this, you could have something that is so valuable sitting in your hand, but if you let a motherfucker come over to your house and convince you that it is trash, you will throw it away, and guess what? That motherfucker will go in the trash bin and pick it up right after they leave your motherfucking house. And that is exactly what happened. They wanted us to integrate into their society because we were getting too powerful. We were becoming too autonomous. We were having too much sovereignty because we were getting so much money and circulating our dollar within our community. And see, this is the thing that's so irritating, is when you look at us today, our dollar doesn't even make it a full 24 hours in our community. It does not circulate like that. I think the Jewish community has said like their dollar circulates within their community for like 12 or 14 days. And then the Asian community was like 8 days. And then the white community was like 4 days or some crazy number like that. Don't quote me on the numbers. I might be wrong, but they're in that ballpark. When it comes to the Black community, our dollar leaves our community within hours. And so that was the goal of integration, because before that, guess what? That dollar stayed in-house. It stayed in-house and it was powerful. That's why they had to infiltrate and let us come to this conclusion that white ice was somehow colder and smoother when it isn't. It's ice. A lot of times to be the same ice in both locations, but we've been convinced that the ice from the white businesses is somehow better than the ice from the Black businesses. And next thing you know, we barely have any businesses now to even sustain ourselves. If we wanted to break off from their society, who do we have making the textiles, making the everyday goods that we need? There may be a few little companies, but they can't service the entire Black community like they would have been able to back in the day. We don't put our money into our community, and that's the reason why we can never get anything done. But I'll land my plane really quick. But bringing it back to the politics of it, now they've created a mule class for the Black community. Whenever they want some shit done, what they'll do is they'll use our struggles, they'll use our faces to be the face of it, because, woe is the Black person. And they will use our face for these different agendas. But guess what? When those agendas go through, we're left with crumbs. Okay, think of affirmative action. Who is really benefiting from affirmative action? Asians. Okay, Asians, once they got rid of that shit, guess who started complaining? Asians. They started complaining that they weren't getting into those schools. Guess what? DEI. Guess who was really benefiting from that? White women. It wasn't benefiting us, but guess who's the face of it? And see, you know what? I'm not even gonna go into that because then I'm gonna just keep talking and talking. But I think y'all know where I'm at stances on this.
Let's hear Watt's response. But before we hear your response, Bros, I just want to do this. Yo, we have over 190. We have like 90 some people. Can we get some people to hit that like button for us if y'all rocking with the panel right now? Because Sandra lights shit up, but I think Watt's got some response for that. I want to hear what Watt's got to say.
I mean, and don't get me, I'm not going to be long. So my grandmother died. My grandmother died when she was 98 years old. So she went through the civil rights movement. She lived literally through all of this. I feel like, Sandra, and no offense, I feel like all of that is easy to say when you didn't live through it. She used to tell me about the conditions that they had to go through. I mean, whether it be restaurants or bathrooms or except, she would literally tell me horror stories. That's one of the main reasons as to why they wanted to integrate. They just wanted better for themselves. I don't know why you think, Black people had it so amazing. There is literally a reason as to why they wanted to integrate. And I'm sorry, when it comes to people infiltrating the Black community, I don't work in conspiracy theories. Like, if you are going to make a claim like that, I need proof. But that's all I'm going to have to say to that. And I will pass it to Logix if he has anything to say.
Okay, so I do want to keep the conversation going in a direction. I don't want to harp on one topic.
I agree.
I think a good way to segue from everything she just addressed, within the prompt of the conversation, I think we can get into the poverty and survival within the Black culture. I think that's partially embedded in what's our culture, and maybe that could help us get a better answer, because I know Vibe is searching for something more than, like, I guess you said, influence in fashion and hip hop and stuff. So I think, in my opinion, I think culture is something, whether it's fashion or maybe like what they say about Asians, they're good at math and shit like that. I just think it's just something that I think you're looking for it to be something deep, and it doesn't necessarily have to be. But I think that where we are now is basically our story, and I think it's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Disrespectful to just denigrate what we have just because it may not be like, oh, we're smart like Asians. You know what I'm saying? They say Hispanics work hard.
So no.
And they're like, listen, I'm not done.
Black people are dumb?
What? No, I said that's their culture.
Hold on.
That's what people say.
Who gave them that, though? Who gave them that, and what gave them that?
Wait, and I wasn't done. And like they say about Hispanics, they work hard. Like, is that good or bad? Like, I would say we work hard too. We probably went through the most bullshit as far as any other demographic on earth. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's others that have as well. But I'm saying that Black people have persevered through quite an alarming amount of bullshit to get us where we are. And to me, it feels like, I could be wrong, that you're saying, fuck all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it almost feels like you're saying other people are better than us because of whatever you feel about our culture.
Wait, hold up, Vibe. Before you say anything, can I add to your question? Because I literally just thought of something. We didn't talk about cuisine. We didn't talk about even education, bro. Like
food.
Like HBCUs, scholars like W.E.B. Du Bois and Bell Hooks and movements like Black Excellence promote intellectual achievement, like stuff like that. I mean, dang it.
So you mean to
tell me white people? Let's be serious.
I mean,
you said what?
HBCUs were started by white people. Like, let's be so for real.
You're stating stuff exactly. So. All right, so I don't know exactly where the ideology is that I think that other people are better than us. Let's break this down like this. Let's do it like this, right? Y'all consider yourselves Black, right? Each one, all of y'all. Include myself.
I'm Haitian.
You're Haitian.
No, I'm joking.
Okay, I'm just trying to get an understanding. So, just out of curiosity, do you play spades?
Yeah.
You really good at spades?
I know how. I'm good. Yeah, I don't play for money and no shit like that. But I know how to play spades.
All right, Sandra,
win.
you play spades?
You know, good and damn well, I play some damn spades.
Why? You play spades?
Absolutely not. Never learned.
So let's talk about this.
Dead ass?
Hold on.
That
Oh,
ass.
Sorry,
I'm
y'all.
glad-
Watts got to get off the stream now. Sorry.
knew it.
We'll see you next
No,
week.
that ass.
I knew it.
Infiltrating I was telling about.
But see, this is what I'm saying. But this is part of the black culture that I would agree on that exists. Black culture is a revolving door of different things that can be considered relatable to the culture. If I ask you, hey, did you ever watch the Friday movies? And you say no, oh, you ain't really black. Oh, okay, you never play space? Oh, you ain't really black. Like, there's so many things that define people and their perspective on what makes you black. Like, and what makes you not black. Me growing up, I was intelligent for the people I was around. And every time I spoke, I was always told, you speak like you talking like them white folks. Have anybody ever heard that growing up? Because I heard it a lot, especially in my demographic, in my era. So for me,
Justin said that to me the other day.
so for me, I can understand how certain things and certain actions don't make you black. So if you're light skinned, if you have the skin complexion of Sandra or maybe even Watts, and where I come from, you ain't really black. You know? So I come from Mississippi, where people want to see you be a part of the culture that they consider the culture 10 toes down. Everything they do, you gotta be you have to be down with. If not, you're not part of the culture. So my thing is, I've been through that. I've lived through that. That's not culture. That's not what I would consider a culture that I would be proud to represent. And that's just from my personal experience. But you said Asians are considered smart.
I didn't say. I said good at math.
Well, good. That's
In
equals.
China, I will tell you that is a damn lie. I tried to order a cheese pizza. Why it take me 30 minutes? And I use the translator.
So, but you see what I'm saying, right? Thank you, Sandra. Because the perception is that they have something positive. The first thing you said was something positive about Asian culture. That has
I don't
to
know
do
that
with
much.
something.
Honestly, it's more of a
No.
stereotype than culture.
I mean,
It
okay.
is a stereotype.
So,
to
so
be
let's put it
honest,
like this.
I'm not informed too much on their culture.
So everything about what we hear about black people is a stereotype that we just grasped onto and ran with and say we are the leaders in this. Hip hop music and urban fashion, the things that y'all mentioned, are the #1 sellers because they're easy to sell to people with the lowest mindsets, with the biggest pockets. Because those people. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't see how a genre of music is about selling to the lowest mindset. I don't get the correlation necessarily.
I don't get the correlation.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Sexy Red.
What I'm
Why do we always have to use Sexy Red as the staple of the fucking black community,
not
bro?
gonna be on the
Why?
hip-hop.
Why?
Bro.
She's not going to be on the route.
She's not on.
Look him, all of them.
You're picking the lowest hanging fruit.
All of them. Who's on the main stage?
Right,
not Sexy Red.
Not Sexy Red.
Just listed off a bunch of them, and they all do the same degenerate shit.
Let me get a higher hanging fruit.
Noise gate.
My bad.
No. I said Watts. I meant Vibe. I think Vibe noise gate fucking him up.
Give me a higher hanging fruit, then, bro.
Drake, Jay-Z.
He promotes that gang shit.
Who?
That was his reality.
Wait.
Shit.
We got on rappers about lying, and the man literally is telling his truth, and it's still a problem.
His story from front to back. First of all, you cannot complain about black people telling their story. If you want to complain about black people telling their stories, take them away from the environments then.
And that's what I said.
Hold up, and also I just unplugged my headphones, so my bad.
That's what I said.
All right, let's go here then. Since we are on this, right? What defines being black? Just want to know that. What actually defines being black? I want to know what defines being black.
Ethnicity and pigmentation.
No.
Literally what I was about to say.
I want to know what defines being black. I want to know what defines being white, because you said ethnicity and what you say, pigmentation, your melanin. All right. Well, there's a lot of Africans come over here and they're defined as white. They actually are defined as white. So you can't tell me
you can
that
be a white African.
You could be a white African.
Or even East Asians. East Asians be darker than all of us.
No, I'm not talking about pigmentation. There are black, what you would consider based on pigmentation, black Africans who are defined as white people in America.
Are you talking about because they speak a certain way?
No, I'm talking about because that's what their identification says.
I don't know anything of the sort. The people that are pigmented from Africa being identified as white. I've never seen or heard that in my life.
I know obviously there is a huge white population in South Africa because of, whatever the fuck, but that's the
That's what I
extent
said.
that
Like,
I
you
know.
can be a white African.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're referring
Right.
to. People that's pigmented like us, and then saying they're white. I don't know anything of the sort. I don't even know how that would become a thing.
I'll put this into perspective. There are people from India that come over here, and their licensing and their birth certificates and all that stuff says white. There are people from,
if they came from another country, wouldn't they birth certificate? I don't think it would say white in India.
When they come over here and they get their paperwork done, they put whites on their paperwork when they are transferring over here. There are people from South America. Okay, they look like us, but they will come over here and on their paperwork they will put whites. So
I've never heard of it.
I've never heard of it either. These conversations are so hard because like I don't even know how you can back up your claim. Like
because you actually can go and Google this. This information is valuable. Go ahead.
Like,
by the way,
is that voluntary? Do they say what do you want on it? Like, because I just don't see them be like. Honestly, that does seem like a question they'll just ask you and they don't know what to say. Because if you're coming from India and getting a new set of paperwork, they're not going to just be like, yeah, we're going to call you this. They're going to say what you want to be. That's why they ask you your height and weight and shit.
Real quick. Half the stuff that y'all been talking about, I literally have been Googling just to confirm. And the only thing that I could confirm that was that like a white man, he did start in HBCU, which was Howard. But everything else, I Googled what started the Civil War. Google literally told me slavery, dumbass. Like, let me just. Like, I have sources.
Listen, first of all, if your sources are the same sources that would only focus on what they have been pushing as propaganda this whole time, because because I
can't keep doing this. Everything can't be propaganda, bro. Everything can't be a conspiracy theory. You can't keep doing this over and over and over again. I just took a shit in the toilet and it went down the toilet. Who took my shit? Is that a conspiracy theory?
It's not a conspiracy.
Look at the Black Panther movement. No, hold up. Because you said this earlier, I didn't get a chance to address it. But when I talk about infiltration, there is a very clear. You can't. Okay.
Yeah, I got you.
When we talk about infiltration into the Black community, into the Black spaces, there's a very good example that is well documented. Okay, when we talk about the Black Panther movement.
That's
now,
proven.
have you seen?
Yeah, have
you seen?
Oh.
So it's not a conspiracy to say that
it is a conspiracy. No,
infiltrated.
It is a conspiracy.
It's not. Those documents have already been released.
Exactly. I'm not saying a conspiracy theory. It's not a theory. It's actually a conspiracy. We don't deny conspiracy exists. We're denying the conspiracy theories that cannot be proven.
Hold on. Let's do this.
When I said that people infiltrating, it's not a theory because it's already been proven.
Sandra, you're breaking up terribly. I just want to say that because I don't know if it's your noise.
Really? She's fine on mine.
Nitro. I mean, it's because we both talking. I got to get nitro.
Okay. I didn't know what it was. But okay, real quick, let's read some comments real quick and let's kind of just go through that and see because we had a super chat that came through.
Okay.
And yeah, so from the super chat, Orayus Soral says, are Blasians part of the Black culture?
You know what? That's actually a great fucking question. I would say, I guess it depends on how you were raised, because I always wondered that too. When someone is like biracial, how do they identify? Like, what process do they go through to say, "Nah, I'm Asian," or "Nah, I'm a Black man"? Like, I wonder.
Yeah, that's a good question. I personally think that when it comes to biracial people, or what we would consider back in the days before it became I guess a slur, mulatto people, which I wanted to talk about that as well. Before that happened, I think the ideology of Black and white really didn't matter. So now we're at this point where people get to choose what they want to identify, but a Black person is always going to look at a mixed person based on the 1% rule that person is Black and they belong to that culture. That's what I believe.
I don't. I don't because I'm be honest with you. I look at Halsey, I do not see a Black woman. Okay, I see a white woman. I look at Mariah Carey. As much as she is in love with the Black culture and is part of it, I see a white woman. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's just like all of us. They can't control, how they came out looking, you know, because I
agree,
thought
but
Mariah was,
I
thought Mariah was white growing up. I didn't know she was mixed, and then I found out she was mixed. I'm like, okay, Tia and Tamira is mixed. They look black as all hell. So you know what I'm saying? It's.
But do you consider them part of the black community based on the fact they don't know how to play spades and they never did a barbecue?
No, they are.
You know. I'm just asking.
Yeah. I don't subscribe to you can't play spades. You didn't see Friday. I don't.
But what if they come out and say they're not black? How would you feel about that?
I would feel like, damn, why not? Why do you feel like you don't want to associate yourself with the culture? I'm not gonna beg them, but it would be kind of fucked up to just decide to not subscribe to a culture that you kind of a part of.
But they also part of a white culture, so why should they have to choose that over that? Like,
I didn't say they had to choose. You can be.
Yeah, I like. Well, that's exactly why I said I think it depends. It depends on their upbringing. Like, if they grew up like if they grew up in the place that was like predominantly like African American, then I think that would make a difference. And also, let me just say, just because we may perceive somebody as white, it doesn't mean they necessarily perceive themselves as white. I'm specifically talking about biracial, biracial.
No, exactly.
Biracial,
exactly.
yeah. But before, I feel like Sandra was about to say, "Don't start this shit. You cannot identify as black." I thought that's what she was gonna say.
No, see, my whole thing is this. You know, when we look at people like Halsey or a Mariah Carey, they have a choice. Okay, they can choose to live their life as a white woman and pass if they wanted to, right? But for some of us, we can't pass, right? Like, I don't care how much skin bleaching you do, you're just gonna look like a, gray-skinned black person.
I say Sosa.
Man.
Oh man, buddy.
Yeah, so that's the difference. And one thing that I do want us to have some clarity on when we talk about culture, and this is more so directed at Vibe, like, culture is literally just a way of life. So if you're holding black culture under this scrutiny, I would ask you, how would you define culture when you're, when we take into context all these other different cultures, right? So like, what makes, Asian, Chinese culture, so different from us saying, oh, we have a black culture, if it's centered around a lot of the same things, customs, clothes you wear, food you eat, music you listen to, all these different things. The culture is all based off of these things, and we have them. Why is it that all these other groups, ethnicities, they get to say, oh, this is our culture, but when we say the same thing, it's like, oh no, that's not a culture, right, even though it's based on the same categories.
I agree with you based on what you're saying, but let me ask you this. Is South Korea and North Korea the same, even though they're Koreans? Are they the same culturally?
I don't think so.
All right, they're different, right? But they're on the same landmass, right? Because they have something that overall determines that they are different in some form or fashion, whether it's religion, whether it's political, something, right? It's something that dictates that they are different. So South Korea and North Korea are two different cultures. And within that, are you saying there are subcultures based in North Korea, there are subcultures, and South Korea, there are subcultures? I don't see that because I never experienced that. I never lived there. I don't do enough research on that to know if there are subcultures that is divided by the overall culture. So I don't look at black culture. I look at American culture. We have American culture here. We don't have black culture. We don't have white culture. We have American culture, which is a hodgepodge, of everything that has been built, developed, and associated with it, shared, and pretty much watered to grow into the direction we currently have today. Everybody want to look at what you are saying is black culture versus looking at it as American culture, because everything that you're talking about happening in Asia comes from America. It doesn't just come from black people in America. It comes from America, period. So on that basis...
I was just about to say, but with black people, we wouldn't have the majority of the things that we have now. So that's one of the reasons as to why I labeled it under black culture.
What do we have?
I literally gave you a bunch of examples.
Yeah,
okay,
you said laid out a lot.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, let me tell you this. You said perseverance, right? Because you was housed.
Bro,
because,
I even said cuisine.
Hold on, let me finish this. I mean, everybody got food, bro. White people got food. Everybody got food.
It's not all the same, though.
But it doesn't have to be the same. It's consumable. We eat it. That's all that matters. It's like, it's something that goes into your body, bro. So, so let me ask you a question. Is black people the creators of veganism or vegan diet?
I don't fucking know.
That's the whole culture that black people consume them.
There's a vegan culture, but it's not applied to a race.
Listen what I'm saying. Exactly. So why should cornbread and pig feet and hog maws be applied to a culture when everybody eats it?
But soul food can literally come from Creole, Gullah traditions. Like, I can go on and on and
that's
on.
That's not fair, Vibe, because all you're saying is basically like, everybody wears clothes, so it doesn't matter. Everybody dances, so it doesn't matter. Everybody got music, so it doesn't matter.
Y'all are using the most minute things to describe what a culture is. What I'm trying to understand is, what I'm trying to say is, all I'm trying to say is, right, is that everything y'all are saying has some basis, but it's not enough to say that this is a culture that I need to be proud of and be like, we're the best because we can fucking dance and make some rhythmatic music. Like, how the fuck does that make sense?
I didn't look, and keep in mind, music was the last thing that I mentioned. That's the last thing.
But and the argument ain't who's the best. It's identifying what it is. And the heart of this conversation is if our culture is considered good or bad.
And I have a question.
I want you to explain to me a group of people that have a culture that you deem to be worthy of being considered a culture.
Let's read this.
Give us an example.
Wait. Okay, go ahead. Let me read this super chat. Watch it. Seems like you got something quick. Then Vibe can respond to Sandra. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm gonna read this super chat. Watch. Say what you was gonna say. It seemed quick, and then Vibe, you can respond to Sandra. Shout out to Aurea Sorrell. A lot of my black friends who love anime, but I'm Asian. Are they black enough for you guys if they act a certain way?
Have you not seen my shirt, brother?
You see this on there?
Look, have you not seen my shirt, my guy? Do you not see this fucking wall? I am a weeb through and through. You see this shit?
Wait, hold up. I don't know. Wait, you running through the halls like this?
Okay, I never did that. I never did that. No, I never.
Based off where I grew up, you would not be considered black.
I never did that.
Just being honest. None of y'all would be considered black where I grew up. Just being honest. So it got to be geographical, so that's all I'm saying.
I mean, like culture is an overarching thing, but then you have subcultures, right? Every single culture has subcultures.
Right.
And they occupy their different spaces, but they're all under the same umbrella.
Okay. So, now I had a question for Vibe. So everything that I said, that Logic said, that Sandra said, you said that's not necessarily culture. So what cultures do we have in America? Are you saying that America doesn't have specific cultures, but it's just all one culture? Because I would disagree.
What I'm saying is, my wife has sons who's been all over the world. Whenever they go somewhere else, they are not called black. They are called American.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Hold on, let me finish. Let me finish. It's only here right now that we're having this conversation about what's black culture, because we're still trying to go back to the principles of what Sandra was talking about earlier. Is a segregation where we want to be separate from what we have been integrated in. We're still looking for our individuality, and we use that by creating these baseless points of what we consider ours and creativity and all this bullshit. And it's this innate adoption of what we do across the world that says that we are here. We're still looking for the most minute things to state that we are here. When I'm saying, like, there are bigger ways to impact the world and say that we are here, but why are we still saying we are here versus a collectiveness and saying everybody has finally come together and now we are one? That's my big play.
Hold up, I want you to answer I don't think you answered my question though. Like, I wasn't even talking about us specifically. I said, do you think there are specific cultures within America in general?
I think there are specific ideologies, right, that are cultivated, which is culture, that has minute standards that does not equate to anything at all. That's what I'm saying.
You don't think so? You don't think, like, if I were to talk about like Mexicans with quinceañeras, or I mean, hell, if I talk about Indians with the way that they throw weddings, like et cetera, like those two.
What does that do for anybody? What the fuck does that do for anybody? Like,
how does it have? Wait. That's not the conversation. Why does it have to do something for somebody? It's just their culture.
The conversation overall, is it good or bad? right? How is the way somebody throw a wedding is bad? How is the way you barbecue chicken is bad? We're not talking about those things. We're talking about, is it good or bad? I'm talking about what has been bad about the Black community. And I told you, hip hop, urban music has been the leading cause of degeneracy in our community, quote unquote, if we want to call it a community, or culture, if we want to call it a culture. Those things have been bad, which has caused more degeneracy and more financial strain across the board. I thought that's why we was here to have a discussion.
Okay, but isolating violent lyrics ignores the broader context of rap as storytelling and social critique. There's a shit ton of rappers that call out systemic.
You're talking about some Jewish writers who love the fact
God damn it!
You're talking about some Jewish journalists. You're talking about some Jewish journalists who putting together articles to perpetuate the fact that this music needs to keep being pushed and pumped to the young generation. Tell me I'm wrong. We got some comments. We got
Damn it, Bob. You said the magic word. You said the God damn it.
Oh, we just got another one. One just came through, Vibe. You want to read?
I'll read it. JL, shout out to JL for that $10 super chat. Music, food, part of culture, and the human experience. Take any class on other cultures, and you would discuss food, music at some point. It's not its entirety, but to act like it isn't a part is wild. I'm not saying it's not a part, but why is that the only thing we focus on? That's all I'm asking about. Like, give me some other things outside of that. Bro. That's all I'm asking about. Are we gonna talk about the shade tree mechanics, who pull up and every time your car goes bad, it's the alternator. Oh, your car broke, it's the alternator. Your brakes going out, it's the alternator. Are we gonna talk about shit like that for real? Like, is that what we really going?
Okay, before we get into it, Elbert Choice, appreciate you for $12 super chat. I gotta ask, but isn't culture derived from ideology?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying ideology. Ideology is a real thing, something that people really believe in, something that can actually shape a culture. Now, tell me the ideology of Black people.
Okay. I'm gonna draw.
Being welcoming. That's the ideology of Black people. We are welcoming.
I'm gonna draw a line. I'm gonna draw a straight line. We was brought here against our will, right? So that
no, you wasn't. You was born here. So if you're not gonna
I said I'm drawing the line. I'm not talking about when I was born.
But that's a conspiracy theory. We can't talk about something you wasn't there. There's no facts that you or your family was brought here.
Wait a minute. Stop it. Okay. Stop. That is not a conspiracy theory.
I get what Bob is saying.
No, you get what I'm saying. As Black people in a culture, I'm not creating a scenario that doesn't exist or isn't proven. Are we denying slavery now?
Oh, Fisher Mama Shrimp said, no, we are not. We are not from here. I mean, we're not from Africa. We wasn't brought here. Some people.
Are we denying slavery now?
We're denying slavery for everyone.
That's fine.
Logix isn't saying that he was a slave and he was brought over here from Africa. Obviously, he's not saying that.
I'm not saying that. I'm talking about generally. So we already said that when we say Black culture, we're talking about Black Americans. So we're taking that premise and drawing a straight line. Black Americans. A lot of us was brought here to be more precise.
No, okay, thank you for saying that. A lot of what you consider Black Americans were brought here.
Yes.
But see, I hate the fact that you're going to say that as if that is the overall point without admitting the fact that there was a lot of quote unquote what we consider Black people who were here or came here on their own who were never slaves.
That's fine.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hello.
That's why I said a lot.
Okay, so now let's talk about this just because you brought that up just for a hot second. Don't want to take up too much time. All right, and I'm pretty sure Sandra's going to have something to say about this as well. Due to the fact that you just mentioned what you mentioned, right, which is totally fine, and I'm mentioning the fact that I'm talking about the other side of the Black people who we call Black because we like to group everybody into the same collectiveness.
I said that at the jump.
Okay, but I'm saying the bourgeoisie, quote unquote, mulattoes that were here who never had to go through slavery, who had the mindset of the slave owner, you would call a house nigga. You would call them bougie niggas. Stuff like that.
I didn't even get to my point. I never made any of these arguments, and I won't.
I know. I'm not saying that you are making. I'm just stating in general. These are the arguments that happen from this conversation. Okay. Those people were grouped in with the other what I'm gonna call Negro class, the working class, who had the mindset of slaves, and now all of that is collectively looked at as a black people or black person or a collective. So when we have these conversations about all black people were slavery or black people went through slavery, it's a mindset to condition everyone to think that everybody went through the same fucking thing when that's not the case.
You need to have a conversation with what we saying. I don't want to talk about what, like, I don't want to
talk in general. Yeah. I gotta talk in general because you're talking in general. You're talking about all people were slavery.
I corrected my language. I didn't have a problem with that. That's why I said a lot. I didn't even get to my point.
All right, my bad. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize.
So I was just drawing a line. I don't even disagree with most of what you just said. I don't disagree with it. So I was saying I was drawing a line from a lot of people came to this country through slavery, and the story that we have to this date kind of comes from that point of poverty, civil rights, you know what I'm saying, integration and all that, to the point that we have things that everything that we have now is a story being told from that point. And that's what we quote unquote consider black culture. Now, to address what you just said, I don't consider you not black if you don't have those roots or you don't identify with any of those things. I could be wrong, but I think when we're having this conversation, which may be what we're missing, is addressing that what a lot of people consider black culture is mostly like hip hop, urban shit. That is what we're talking about when we say it, but I don't want that to get misconstrued with us saying that if you don't listen to hip hop or eat collard greens or play spades, that you're not black. I don't want those two things to get mixed up.
And see, that's the part that I really think we should talk about, is that, you know, the ideas that are spread massively about what our culture is, that's not necessarily something that we've chosen for ourselves, right? And it's not always something that is indicative of the truth. Because I will tell you, okay, going back to a different culture, I'll put this into perspective. When they talk about how Chinese people are just so intelligent, I'm here to tell you, I lived amongst them. It was not, these were not, the
so many of them,
logical, critical thinking people. And I traveled around, not to say that there aren't any that were smart, but logically speaking, there were a lot of things that I had to kind of baby walk people through, that if I was back here in America with the dumbest person from the trashiest trailer park, I would be able to get them to understand within a few seconds. And I would have to, and I'm talking about things that, you know, I could translate, or I could have somebody else translate, another Chinese person translate for me, and they would still be so confused. So when we get these ideas about everybody's culture, understand there is someone or a group that is, and I know y'all don't like my little tin foil hats. There is a group curating these images of every single group. Okay, the image of Asians is always going to be, this model minority, very intelligent. But if you go and live amongst them, you will see something completely different. Okay, just like the image that they have crafted for Black people deals with a lot of aggression. Okay, and this was brought forth through propaganda. We don't realize how big propaganda plays in our day-to-day lives. It's everywhere. There's this movie that highlights it beautifully. And I think it's called They Live or something like that, where the guy, he has his glasses, right? He has his glasses, he puts them on, and then everything he sees, he's able to see what the real message is. And then he takes the glasses off, and it just looks like regular every single day. No, it's not Black Mirror. It's like, the older folks in the chat will know what I'm talking about. Okay, it's an older movie.
It's a fire concept.
It is.
He puts the glasses on. He's able to see the real messages that they're putting forth.
It's called Soil and Green, but yeah,
Soil and Green.
Soil and Green.
So that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right.
Soil and Green the one I watched that movie like multiple times. It's the white dude who put the glass. It's black and white, but when he put on the glasses, he see everything. If it's not Soil and Green, no, it's not Soil and Green.
I think it's called They Live. I think it's called They Live.
They live. Yeah. Soil and Green is the other one when it was feeding people the bullshit. That's my fault. But again, it's conspiracy. It's conspiracy, Sandra. So, we want to stay away from that. The thing about the conspiracy thing, though, is that it's so weird that it's okay to use conspiracy because we are not going through the textbooks and we're not bringing up the articles and the videos that has been displayed. Because if it's not coming from a Google article, then it's conspiracy theory, because these things are not led by people who want to change anything. Everything needs to stay the same. They don't want people awakened to the truths of our conspiracies and our, thought-provoking ways. So on that basis, when someone says, I'm gonna Google something, that's the least amount of digging you can do to find any correlating.
Hey, wait,
hold on. To find any correlating information based on the things that me and Sandra said, because I want to go back when I was talking about the Civil War. I done had this conversation so many times, brother, that it hurts my head to have the Civil War conversation, because I know for a fact I found so many articles that was printed in the newspapers back then talking about how this war was started over the Union. So on that basis, are you saying the things I've read is wrong because you can't Google it and find it immediately? So that's
no. Here's another layer to it. Who writes the history books? Tell me who writes the history.
We have, first of all, I really want to stay on topic here, but
answer the question. Who writes the history?
Bro, we have all of these things have been documented over time.
Who documents it? Whose documents get to live on? The people who win, okay? The people who win.
It's not about who wins. It's just what happens.
Everything's about who wins, bro. Everything's about who wins.
It is the one that pushed forward, okay? That's the problem is we're basing everything off of the people who get to document it and say, hey, we won, so this is the story we're going with. And that's the problem here. Who gets to write the history book?
How can you back up that claim?
There's a lot
this is all conspiracy.
Okay, how about this? Do you or do you not believe that there are a lot of inventions that were made by Black people where white people have gotten the credit for them?
There are also plenty of inventions that Black people have been credited for.
It's a yes or no, but what about the ones that they haven't been credited for? Do you believe that is a thing?
I don't know. I can't say that for sure, Sandra. I don't know. It's possible. It's not impossible.
Okay, so you said it's not impossible. So was the first president really Black?
As far as I know, yes. Of America?
Yeah.
As far as I know, yes.
The first president, not the first Black president, but the first president.
I said yes. You said was he
George
Black?
Washington?
Oh, you said was he Black?
He's asking was he Black?
Oh no, I thought you said I heard that backwards. No, to my understanding, no.
It's George Washington, right?
Yeah. Ugly nigga with the wooden teeth. Yeah.
Hey, first of all, that's my seventh great uncle. So I would prefer you not to bash his wooden teeth.
Hey, your seventh great uncle was ugly. He had yuck mouth.
But that's my point exactly. Sandra's making a great point. Everything that you read and that you're basing
you do
your
understand there's
off,
a difference in me not knowing something versus making a claim that's unfounded, right?
But you're saying
right.
But you're stating that we've possibly making claims that is unfounded based off the lack of information you have that you're prevalent to. So on that basis,
I'm only ardently against what I know. I'm not arguing this because I'm not that informed.
No. Due to the fact that most intelligent people will be like, you know what? Maybe that's true. I have to do my own research.
And that's what we just did.
That's what I do.
Y'all straight up call me and Sandra conspiracy theorists.
Because you were saying things that were contrary to the proof of everything that's known. So why do you believe that you have the key to all knowledge that nobody else has access to?
I have the key to the knowledge that I seek out. I have the knowledge to the knowledge.
Okay, wait, come on. Wait. Where do you get this knowledge? Because I get my knowledge only from accredited sources. I'm not talking about Wikipedia or anything. I'm talking about legit.
So basically, by this logic, everything that white people do or Jewish people do, they lying to you by this logic. You're basically this is all this leads to. If a white person said it or a Jewish person said it or a slave master said it, it's false on its face, period.
No, see, this is my thing. I think everyone should have a healthy bit of skepticism.
That's fine.
Right? I agree. No, but you're going hard in the paint to say this is what's right because of the white sources that you brought forth.
No.
Bit of skepticism because even those sources that you are citing can be fallible. They can be full of lies. We don't know, so we should be able to ask those questions.
Your claims too? Does that
I
not go for your
agree.
claims?
I'm not saying that you can't, but when you approach me with these sources and you're not able to tell me for certain that these sources are true, so we can't sit over here and act like because what you found is sourced, it somehow has more weight than what I said. So
Exactly.
it's like, if we're gonna have an honest conversation about it, it has to be two-way street.
I agree with that.
I agree with that, but it's the fact that even what you just said, you like who made those sources. It's like you don't have a name to put to this.
That's my issue.
You're saying that, but it's not that part in itself because you're on his face denying accredited stuff that most
I'll give you an
people on
example.
Earth don't deny.
I'll give you an example. I will give you an example. In Texas, I think this was like around like the 2010s in Texas, McGraw-Hill, okay, they wanted to rewrite the Texas history books to say that Black people were indentured servants. This was a real thing. They wanted to change the history books so that the language was different. Now, riddle me this, I'm pretty sure there's a big difference between slaves and indentured servants. There's a huge difference between the two, but they changed the language. They wanted to change the language, and there was a lot of pushback for this. So you can't tell me that this is the first instance of this happening and that it's impossible that they couldn't have already gotten away with this shit in previous history books through changing the edition. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so even though we have records, knowledge, people literally have studied this for their lives, I'm not saying you shouldn't have skepticism, because even I have skepticism for certain things. I do. So what are you saying? What are you guys saying exactly? Because it sounds like no matter what no matter what we read, no matter what we look up, no matter how hard we dig, it could be wrong because there's some mythical, magical Jewish man that could have.
It's not magical. Ron DeSantis is not mythical. He is not magical. But guess what he's trying to do in Florida? Okay, what is he trying to do in Florida? What actually? Let's even take it a step further. Critical race theory. They were trying to get rid of critical race theory, which was literally just history. It was literally just history. They want
now
to get
that I will agree with you.
Oh, so you can understand that it's possible that happens, but that is
based on information that was already there. You're trying to wipe away information that was already there. That doesn't make any sense.
The information we're talking about was wiped away before you were born. That's the problem. That's the problem. These things happened before you were born.
Sandra, you can't make that claim.
Hold on.
This thing happened in our.
All right, let me state this right here, because we all know that Hitler did it. You know, he burnt books, and all of them people burnt books to get rid of certain things they didn't want. It happens across the board. When wars happen, we burn the history. It happens across the board. So if you're saying that doesn't happen, then I don't know what to tell you. But all I'm saying is, Watts.
I'm not saying it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
When me and Sandra make a point, right? The first thing I see happen is happy fingers. I know I gotta Google this. Everything that you and
because if I'm not knowledgeable of something, I'm gonna look it up. Is that not fair?
No, which is fine. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But what I'm saying is the difference between this conversation, right? Is not we're not here to prove you all wrong based on the things you're saying, because I'm not sitting here Googling the things you're stating. I take it with a grain of salt. Listen what I'm saying. I take it with a grain of salt, and I can respond from my experiences and the things that I have within my wheelhouse. I'm not looking to prove you wrong, but what I will do is take some of these things you say and maybe go do some research on it to see if I can find more information. So I'm never calling what you're saying a definite no, but it seems like you and Logic would look for a definite no, and things me and Sandra say that may just come off as a conspiracy to you all because you haven't added this to your wheelhouse. That's all I'm saying.
I only fervently look up stuff when, like, if you was to be like the earth is flat, I don't have to look that up. But the point is, if it completely
it's in your wheelhouse, if
it's a complete 180 to everything I understand and know, I have to look. If it's
okay, let me say this. I'm not doing that to like undermine you guys and your knowledge, or if I'm looking something, it's genuinely because I don't know. I'm not trying to say, these niggas are wrong. No, that's not the type of timing that I'm on, like at all. Like, I'm just trying to back up your claims, because you guys have to admit, some of the things that you are claiming, we cannot find easily. So I have to look it up.
And there's a reason why you can't find it easily.
And that's where the conspiracy, and that's where I hop off. And that's where I hop off. Because that's where the conspiracy
You're not supposed to hop off. You're supposed to go into the rabbit hole. Okay, go into the rabbit hole. Don't run away.
It's called critical thinking, right? Yeah, I agree. It's called critical thinking.
Critical thinking is questioning things that you hear.
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
Literally.
No,
I'm about to say.
What you read.
But y'all are not
questioning things you read.
Questioning.
I am though. I've been questioning you this whole time. If I were to take everything that you guys, everything that everybody is saying out on the street at face value, I will be dumb as fuck.
No, that's not what we're saying. This is the difference, right? I want to know who you are. I want to know who you are, Watts. I want to know who you are, Logic, because I don't think y'all really would die on the hill that y'all say y'all stand on. That's my real thing. I don't really think y'all stand for the things y'all really say. I don't think you'll stand on the hill of black people. I really don't.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
Let me ask you a question right now, right? Let's say let's not hope not, but right? If a civil war breaks out right now, due to the fact that white people in America outnumber black people, and most of them actually know how to use guns way better than black people, based off the stereotypes that we know, holding the gun sideways, pants sagging, all that. What side of the war would you be on if you had to choose a side? What side of the war would you actually be on if you had to choose a side? And don't say neither. You can't choose.
If I have to choose black people.
Yeah, if I have to choose,
I wouldn't.
Ain't no damn way I'm standing on that hill. This is the hill of survival.
Well, so you projecting how you feel on me then, because that's not.
I'm about to say,
I didn't project nothing. I asked
you said you don't think I would die on the hill of black people.
That's my perception. I'm not projecting it. I'm just my perception.
But you said you don't believe me, and you said I would not stand on the hill.
Well, first of all, I didn't believe you until you said it. Now I believe you. You said it. I stated that before you said you would. So now you proved me wrong. My bad. You'll die on that hill. That's fine. I wouldn't. Because again, you can label me black, but I do not stand for 90% of the shit that black people do in the culture that y'all are 90% of the shit. Let's go ahead.
Let's get into that.
Because it's gonna come down to the urbanized culture that we are sitting here talking about from the beginning of this conversation.
So are you more concerned with changing the outcome or changing the root?
You can't change the root.
It's fair. I get why you say that. Yes, you cannot change the root. I meant more so, do you address it from?
You can't address it.
Say you built. I'm gonna give an analogy. Say you built a skyscraper, and by the time you're done with it, it's fucked up. It's fucked up. And you could kind of go at the top and change some things. It's still gonna be fucked up in the middle. You go in the middle and maybe try to figure out how to hold it up while you fix stuff in the middle. Still not gonna be perfect because you still got the top half and the bottom half fucked up. I don't like this fucking building. So
what happened to the
Twin Towers?
Knock it down. What happened to the Twin Towers?
What? Come on, man. What? Stop. I'm talking about you trying to work. I'm talking about you working on a building. I'm not talking about somebody crashing into it.
I stopped working. I'm gonna answer the question for you. I've been stopped working on that building. I just made a notion that we should be thinking about American culture, and y'all said why. So that's my point.
I don't know who said.
I didn't say none of us said why. I had questions.
Well, I said why.
Yeah, I had questions.
I heard why. I might have been in my own head.
I don't think anybody said why.
I don't think anybody said why. I had questions.
Okay, but no, I'm done working on that building, brother. The building is unfixable. You're basically saying I should spend my life working on a building that is never going to be corrected. The same thing that Martin Luther King died on, trying to fix a building, and his dream, look what it spiraled into. Look what Malcolm X dream spiraled into. All of this shit is continuously happening. There's 20 steps forward and there's 100 steps backwards every single time. So I'm not going to advocate for change. I'm just not going to be a part of the problem. Period.
Oh, you talking about that 13% of the population doing 50% of the crime?
Crimes. Yes, Sandra. So all this police brutality, I don't claim that. I don't claim police brutality.
What do you mean you don't claim it?
I don't claim that there's a issue in the world where police brutality happens on black people. When they get pulled over.
Do you deny it's disproportionate?
Yeah, no, I'm gonna tell you what's disproportionate.
Now, why it's happening? I'm not denying why, but I'm saying, do you believe that it's disproportionate? You don't buy into the fact that it's disproportionate?
I do not buy into that at all.
You don't think it's disproportionate?
No, if you talk about white police, I don't think so at all. Because every time I've been assaulted by the cops,
I say police. I ain't saying white.
Okay, I'm just saying every time I've been assaulted by the police, if we're going to talk about, it's been from black people. You know what I'm saying? I've been choked out, by black cops. No, I'm just making my own stats here. I appreciate you making it clear that you're talking about police, period. But just the situations that I put myself in to be in confrontation with the police, whether they're black or white, was based off of me and my reactions at those times, and that's all I can base it off of.
But I understand, but that's anecdotal. Though.
Yeah, I was gonna say because look,
of course, I can only speak from experience.
I'll say right now, I've never experienced blatant racism from any police or any white person in my life that I can recall. But I will never sit here and pretend like, shit, that ain't happened to me, so fuck what everybody else talking about. I think that's really disingenuous to do. I've never been mishandled by the police. I've never been gotten a ticket I didn't deserve. I've never been harassed. But you will never catch me trying to say like, I don't know what y'all talking about. Just do what you're supposed to do, because I've seen it. You know what I'm saying? So basing it off of what I experienced, that don't mean
the videos that you watched on YouTube. You seen it in your
before
neighborhood.
Videos, it's been happening.
You seen it in your neighborhood where you actually seen black people get pulled over and get beat up, pulled out their car, and choked out. I mean, where your stats coming from?
I didn't say a stat.
But where's this disproportion coming from? Because last week when we were talking about,
I think statistically,
last week when we was speaking about the converting kids, you made it clear that those stats were very important and they really told the story.
I was gonna continue to say. I'm saying the stats show that it does happen to black people disproportionately, but just because I don't see it, don't mean it don't exist. I'm still gonna.
Just like those trans kids.
I haven't seen it, but I'm not denying it happens.
Just like those trans kids that have these situations happen to them, and they end up fucked up, depressed, and not liking the fact that they were coaxed into transition. So they.
Not getting on this again. Order in the goddamn court.
Hold up, no, but there is a parallel, because I find it very funny that we're able to understand that just because something doesn't happen in our scope of view, that it still could be a possibility. But the moment I brought up kids going through this whole process and being coaxed into a lifestyle that really didn't fit them, and then they regret it, then all of a sudden it's, well, most of them like their transition. Most of them like it, as if the stories of these people that grow up and they don't like it don't matter. But when it's black people, and it happens to a small group of black people, somehow it matters. So I just wish people would just keep that same energy.
The energy is exactly the same, Sandra.
It's not the same. It's not
small group of black people is
the same.
Wait,
how
it is a small group of black people
to the rest of it
compared to
it is a small group.
I don't want to do this because this is off topic.
It is off topic.
You don't want to do it because your logic isn't logicking. That's why you don't want to do it.
No, it's because it's off the subject.
We do want to stay off topic. That's why I brought out the gavel.
It's off topic. That's the problem.
I brought out the gavel.
Y'all don't keep that same energy, and that's the part that makes my ass itch. That's the part that makes my ass itch. Okay, if you're going to make the claim, that this thing that is happening to people, that it's not happening to you, but you recognize that it's a problem, then I want you to keep that same energy for the kids that get transitioned, and then it's a problem for them when they grow up. We need to keep that same energy. We need to recognize those voices that might be small, those minority voices, because it is a minority of black people that have these issues with the cops. It's still a minority.
Sandra.
Minority voices do matter, not just the ones you care about, but
Sandra.
all of them.
I agree that it's not happening to most black people. That's why I said disproportionate relative to their white counterparts. I'm not saying I'm not arguing it's happening to a bunch of black people. I said it's disproportionate because of how many black people there is and who it's happened and how many of them it's happening to, just like the 1350. I don't deny that statistic. I'm consistent with how I look at statistics, just like with trans people. I'm talking about the statistic of trans kids that actually, first of all, are trans. Second, it's even less that regret it. I'm looking at the same numbers. I'm not saying, a bunch of black people I'm not saying a bunch of black people is out here getting brutalized by the police. I'm saying I said it's disproportionate to their white counterparts. I'm not saying it's most or a lot of black people.
At that point, it doesn't matter that most, because most black people are not having that happen to them, so it doesn't matter. Why are we talking about this?
I'm just pointing it out.
Doesn't matter.
I'm just pointing it out.
It's
still disproportionate.
You want to make it seem like you want to make it seem as though
the argument is about the proportionality.
You want to make it seem as though these kids that grow up and they don't like it and they have depression and all these other things, mastectomy means that they can't reverse, that their situation doesn't matter. We shouldn't care about it because the large group doesn't have to deal with that. Guess what? Same logic. The small group of Black people that have to deal with it, it just is what it is. It's not the most of
because Vibe was basically denying it happens. I don't deny that there's people that detransition. He was denying it on his face.
I said it's not disproportionate. It's not. Let me ask you a question.
Okay, you denied the statistic. So that's my point.
No, it's okay.
You said you said it's not disproportionate, and that's what I was arguing.
Listen, based off everything y'all have been saying from the beginning of this podcast, is that, or this panel is basically that there are disproportionate situations overall, right? And Black people have persevered through all of that, right? So let me put it like this, right? If we are the minority across the board, if you got 30 white people in your house, right? And you have 10 Black guys, right? And 10 Black guys was able to take out 5 white guys, and 5 white guys was able to take out 5 Black guys, that's disproportion because you started off disproportion. It's always going to be disproportion because you're outnumbered. You're outnumbered not because there are more white people based on their skin color. You're disproportionate because there's more people claiming to be white. Armenians come over here and they register as white. There's Africans who come over here and register as white. There are Irish people who come over here and register as white, not just based off of their skin color, based off of status. White means status. That's pretty much all it means. Black means
this was about
lower
police,
status,
not race.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm talking about the disproportionate that you're mentioning. It's only that way is because less people register as being Black than people that register being white. They're not looking at white people's skin when they're talking about this number. And then those numbers don't always.
Police, not white people. You said white people's skin. We're not talking about white people.
Bro, how can anything be disproportionate if you not have a metric of something other than the Black? You gotta have something other than the Black.
What you mean? There's Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, and other. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. But based off of that, most of those people register as white. Go look at the statistics.
Who's most of those? Even if it is, it's disproportionate. Even if they want to register as white.
Okay, in that case, it's less Asians here who still get brutalized by police as well. You saying Asian people don't get brutalized?
Maybe. No, I'm not gonna say yeah, but maybe. But I don't think so. Proportionate to their race.
You don't have all the facts. So you don't have all the facts.
I don't know that.
So you don't have all the facts. So you're making a claim that Black people are disproportionate when you're not even when you're not even looking at Asian numbers. You're not looking at Mexican numbers.
Saying Black people are doesn't mean white people or Asians aren't. That's not saying they aren't.
But you're not giving us the numbers for those other groups because you're saying you don't know what those groups are. You're just basing it off of what? Off of Black people, off of your culture?
No, based off the population.
But but the population have Asians, Mexicans,
I know. The
Irish.
Proportion means the base. It's like a per capita. It's a per capita based off per 100,000 people. That's what you do to figure out proportionality. It's not just raw numbers.
But that doesn't make sense because that can be fabricated in many ways.
All right. So all right. So where we want to go from here?
Because I'm saying not everybody reports police brutality. Not everybody goes out and say I was abused by the police.
It's not about self-reporting. It's not self-reported.
How else do you get a report?
Huh? I said it's not self-reported. I said it's not self-reported.
How else do you get a report?
Wait, about the police brutality?
Yeah, how the fuck did we know?
It's documented.
By who?
The people it happened to. You make a fucking report. I'm sorry. I apologize for my verbiage. Yes, you're correct. It is a self-report. But regardless of that, it's still, if you're not going to use that to just say it's not true or say something else, then it's kind of like disingenuous. I'm not going to make a claim that I can't back up with something. And if you don't want to believe it, I can't make you believe it.
So basically what you're saying from the last, and I'm just going off of what I know, and y'all can speak on how you feel, but based off of what I know, right? And this is my personal perspective of what I've studied. This is like a cash grab for a lot of people. That's why they self-reported. When the police look at them wrong or say something out the way, I'm gonna report it. I want a lawsuit. Just like when people go out there and drive cars and they what they call they brake check you multiple times trying to get you to crash into them because it's an easy money grab. So all of this disproportionate shit, I just think it's part of the black culture. I give you that. That shit is part of the black culture. Money grabs from the police is a part of the black culture. You can stand on that hill with them. You can stand on that hill with them.
All right, so let me
Yeah.
change the trajectory of the conversation. So Vive, and I guess Sandra too. Do you guys think that crime is a part of black culture, crime and violence? Okay, so that's what you're saying. Okay, so would you not? And I feel like this is about to open another can of worms. But
you know where you're going. You know what you want.
Would you guys not say crime is a symptom of poverty and systemic neglect?
Systemic?
Education.
Yeah.
Oh, and let's see who you're gonna blame for that one. Let's see who you're gonna blame for that one. Come on.
I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just asking you a question because me personally, I think it's unjust to conflate societal failures with culture identity.
So let's do this. Don't ask us a question. I want to hear what you feel.
Let's
talk
you.
about.
I asked you. What you mean? I specifically asked you.
No, since you don't want to open up the can of worms, let's see what you feel. I want to know how you feel because I feel like I'm gonna open that can of worms that you don't even want to go down that road.
I said how I feel. Crime is a symptom of poverty and systemic neglect. I said how I feel.
Okay, but who's at fault for that?
Oh, Jesus.
Be honest, bro. It's okay to be honest.
Who's at fault for what exactly?
The poverty and
the crime and the poverty in black neighborhoods. Why does that happen?
And the systemic educational barriers. I guess that's what he said.
Yeah.
Who's at?
Yeah. So who's causing this thing to happen?
Who's causing this?
So it's I already said it, man. Systemic racism, bro. Racism.
Whose system? Whose system?
No.
Whose system?
Okay, America's system.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man. Y'all see,
America's system.
This is that shit, man. This is that shit when people don't really want to be honest. I told y'all won't stand on that hill. Y'all
What you want me to say? The white man?
Is that what you want to say?
You want me to say the white man?
No,
I said America.
No. If America can't be black culture, everything. Don't put that in the same group when you're saying, oh, it's America's problem. Don't just like America isn't black culture. Don't say that.
What?
Say what you think the problem is and who's creating the problem.
Is this a problem we're creating ourselves?
Nope. Wouldn't say that.
All right, so who's creating it?
So then who's creating the problem?
America, bro. Literally how this country runs, how it's set up.
America is
America. What do you want me to say? This is literally how we've been running as a country for decades.
America, if we're not talking about the land mass, is its people, okay? And black people are a part of the people, so we are causing the problem then. If you're saying America, because America cumulative are the people, and black people are part of America, so we are part of the problem then. Yes.
So Sandra, would you say that?
You don't want to answer the question.
No. I had a great fucking question, and I forgot it. Fuck, come back to me. It's gonna come back. I promise.
Answer your question.
Fuck.
Wait, what?
Logic, who's the problem? Who's the problem for it?
You saying who? I don't believe it's a who. I don't know if that's what y'all think. I don't think it's a who. I think people in poverty, I'm not saying there's no element of,
racism?
What's the word? No, I'm not, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not saying that you don't have any self-responsibility of your circumstance. I'm not saying that there's absolutely none, but we have to weigh environmental factors along with your own personal autonomy and the decisions you make. I think both of those things play a part. But when you're born into certain circumstances, the cards could be stacked against you. Whatever circumstance they got into too. You know what I'm saying? All that shit trickles down. So I think it's just, like I said, that's why I do agree with more so of a America issue. I do believe that. I really do believe that. I don't think I don't believe it's people's personal decision to be in poverty. Like, that's not like always a decision that people make.
So
I don't.
do you guys
I
always
disagree with that. I disagree with that. I disagree with that.
Before you
Because
answer,
if you wanted to tell you, okay.
I was about to say, do you think that say what you were going to say, but also I was going to ask, do you think that people can be products of their own environment? Genuine question. Go ahead.
All right. So here's the thing. I do believe that our choices keep us in poverty. Okay, because there are people that come out of poverty, and the reason why they come out of poverty is because they make choices that are hard. Okay, they don't necessarily go with what's easy or with what's comfortable. Now, yes, there are situations where people they go through a series of unfortunate events that are out of their control, sure, but that is the outlier. Most people are just not financially literate. Okay, that's the problem. Black community is not financially literate. We don't know what the fuck we're talking about when we're talking about money. And so you end up with a situation where a bunch of ignorant folks, when they do get some money, they don't know what the fuck to do with it. And so they end up squandering it on some bullshit. And I'm not saying that I'm the most financially literate person, because I know I've squandered on plenty of bullshit. But what I'm saying is, when we talk about these problems that happen within the Black community, I think that a lot of it is on our end. We fucked up.
Because it came to a point, Sandra, I'm gonna just add on to what you're saying, where I'm gonna call it the new bourgeoisies became what they call colored bibbits or colored babbits. Now y'all can Google this if you need to, if you don't know what colored babbits are. But colored babbits are the people who felt like the material things in life meant more to them than other things that was tangible, like education or family values or just being a collective and growing in a more I guess subtle way. They always use their money and their finances to show how much they've succeeded. Now, if you don't believe that is a thing, that is a real thing in the Black community. That's why Sandra said earlier that our money only circulates for 24 hours once we get it. Less than 24 hours when we get it. And that has been the number one problem with crime and poverty and what you consider. So that should be part of your Black culture as well. If you want to say Black culture, the colored babbit should be a part of your Black culture, because that is the number one reason why most people can't get out of the spaces they're in even after they get money. So it doesn't just happen for Black people, it happens for white people as well, but on a smaller scale. Asians as well, smaller scale, because there's poverty everywhere. There's not poverty just in Black culture. There's just not poverty in white culture. Everybody experienced poverty across the board. So poverty is American. Poverty is Asian. Poverty is anything that means there is a lower class of anything that is struggling to make it through because of the choices they made. How about having kids when you fucking shouldn't have kids and you can't even afford the little bastards? I'm being honest. You can't afford them, so why are you having them? Most people find comfort in taking care of something else. I'm pretty sure, and this is just from my personal perspective, you can question it or not, but I've heard so many young women say, my child saved my life because I didn't have nothing to live for. But now I live for my kids. People have fucking kids just so they can have something to live for. Now, if you say that's not a real problem, then hey, maybe we're having the wrong conversation.
I'm not gonna say that isn't an issue. Hold up real quick. My bad. I'm not gonna lie. I heard everything you said, but I checked out for a second because y'all was talking about money, and I was like, shit, my rent is due. My bad. My heart dropped. I thought I was late.
It is the first, brother.
Yeah, but no. With people, with your last point where you said people basically have used children as like a means to fix their life, whether it was intentional or not. No, I'm not going to say that's not true, because I mean it is. I've met somebody that has done that actually, and yeah. But
official Mama Shrimp says poverty in America still has 60-inch smart TVs. Poverty everywhere else, you might be bathing in lakes with cows.
Yeah,
there's a difference. There's poverty and then there's absolute poverty.
Shout out to JF for the $10 super chat. The purveyors of the system.
Hey, let's go.
The purveyors of the system, the ones who hold the most power, take the lion's share of fault. However, it does interact with personal choice. It's a symbiotic relationship. That's similar to what I said. I'm not negating the fact that personal responsibility plays a part. I just want us to not act like environment and upbringing plays no role. That's all. I don't disagree with a
Who's
lot of what you
creating the
just said,
environment?
Vibe. That's it. I don't know if y'all think that we just saying like, hell no, it's the white man that did it all to the black folks. That's why he
Not
said
saying that.
poverty. I didn't even say black poverty. I was addressing poverty because I agree that white people in poverty commit crimes too. Like I don't. That's why he said, "Do you think that poverty is a symptom of?"
We were specifically talking about black people. We were specifically talking about black people because y'all didn't want to talk about brutality. So we were strictly talking about black people. Like we can't sugarcoat this. Like we wasn't just talking about black people.
Yeah.
Even if we do, it still applies, though. To be honest, it still applies. The logic is still there. It's about
really feel like
racism.
Then who
minority.
creates
It's
the
almost as if
environment?
you're
Who
trying to
creates the
say
environment,
black
though?
people stand different in poverty than white people stand different in poverty. And I think, I don't know this, I don't have any numbers to back it up, but I would say that it's probably about equal the way they, maybe different types of crimes, maybe. But I think crime is a manifestation of poverty and inequality. And I think that's a problem that America has. Like,
That's a problem every dynasty across the world has always had. That shit is never going to change. So are we saying, because we was talking about the building, do y'all think y'all can fix that? Is that a fixable thing?
I think you can take steps to repair it versus attacking some of the like music and food and shit like that. Like I think you should invest in education. I think you should incentivize building families and building two-parent families. Like I said, I think the biggest.
So you believe in the nuclear family. You believe in the nuclear family.
Yeah.
So you believe that the nuclear family was attacked and separated.
I don't know. I haven't done all my homework on that. I appreciate
that. I appreciate that though.
Yeah, I know about, you know what I'm saying, what they did with welfare. I just have not looked deep into it. I have not. So yeah. I don't ever claim that fully either way because I have not dug deep onto the welfare thing.
So now that we're talking about welfare, do you believe that is a part of black culture?
No.
I wouldn't say welfare is necessarily a part of black culture, no.
So you don't believe in generational welfare families? You don't think that exists?
I mean, it might exist.
I'm not saying it doesn't exist, but I just wouldn't say it's a part of, yeah, it exists.
I know what I'm thinking of right now. I know what I'm thinking of right now that has that very situation.
What conversation are we really having? Because the whole basis of this podcast, the title said, is it good or positive or negative, good or bad or something? Why are we negating all the things that we think is bad for black and only trying to focus on the good?
Okay,
we're trying to prop up black culture. We're trying to prop it up.
Well, the issue with this whole conversation is we're trying to consider what is even a part of black culture in general. That's been the whole antithesis of this conversation, because that's where the disconnect is. We do not agree the same things are a part of black. You said welfare is a part. I don't think welfare is a part of black culture.
Did you grow up on welfare?
No.
Did you grow up on welfare logic?
Mm-mm.
Did you grow up in community housing or government?
No, South suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah.
Same house for my whole life.
All right, so y'all come from a different avenue than I do. So my experience is a little different because I grew up in housing authority for 45% of my life. So you come from a different perspective than I do, which is okay, which is fine.
That's fair.
But that also states that y'all don't really have the knowledge, because I've been on both sides of the fence. Like I own an 8,000 square foot house, all of that good stuff. I lived on both sides of the fence of wealth, whether it's no wealth or a lot of wealth. So on that basis, I don't even think that y'all can have the same conversation that I'm having because y'all haven't experienced.
Well, that's like not you're fair. Claiming blackness over us then with that.
Yeah, I am. Exactly. I'm claiming black superiority right now because y'all have a one-way lifestyle to view black through your fucking TVs. You haven't lived it.
You do too, yo. What are you talking about?
I've sold the drugs. I've robbed the people. I broke into homes.
Black culture.
You think that all the nigga shit is black culture?
Yes, it is all black culture.
So the nigga shit is black culture.
It's black culture. You're damn Skippy, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because that's the shit that you running around here bumping with your kids in the car all goddamn day, claiming that this shit banging.
I play Michael Jackson for my kids.
Oh, well, that's good. I do too. But anyways, speaking to the ones out there in the world that ain't really lived the life, but love to listen to the life talking about they preaching about what they done. No, nigga, we preaching about what we was doing, period. And that's the shit that's different. That's the shit that's different because you are a one-way black lifestyle liver, which I'm not hating you for. I'm glad you didn't have to experience the shit half the motherfuckers in America who's black had to go through. So the
But
shit
it
that
seems
y'all
like we
was
have
saying,
more empathy for those than you do.
Nigga, you know what that is? That is white guilt in a black
I said
coat,
it
nigga.
seems like.
No, it's white guilt in a black
It
coat. What
seems
you
like.
have is white guilt in a black coat.
I think you're just internalizing it differently. It ain't
No, it's white
Don't say
guilt
nothing about
in
no
a
white
black
guilt
coat.
to me, bro.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Hey, you can figure out a better way to word it, but don't make that it. You can figure out a better way to word how you feel, but don't say no white guilt, bro.
Hold on.
I need you to define that. I really want Vibe to define that.
If you want me to
I
define it,
want
I'll
him to
define
define
it.
it.
We're not doing
I'm
that.
So what I'm saying is, right? It's no different than a person who can sit there and say, "Oh, I understand what you went through, but you never even been through it." You know what I'm saying?
No, I said empathy, not sympathy.
No, it's no empathy either, because at the end of the day,
That's exactly what empathy is.
I know what empathy is. I know exactly what empathy is. I have a degree in human resources and sociology and psychology, so I understand what you're saying. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is people who say they have empathy don't really know what that is because they haven't understood any real trials and tribulations to that degree. So I understand you're just saying
How do you know
words.
what I've went through?
Bro, I just asked you.
Because I didn't grow up in the hood and sell drugs. I went through
Yeah,
nothing.
hold on. Wait.
What are you talking about?
No, I'm stating the fact that you haven't went through what 80% of black. No, what 80% of black Americans go through. The 13% that you claiming you know about went through. That's what I'm saying.
Even at 13%. Wait, what do you? So now you're acting like all black people in poverty commit crime now?
They all do. I know them all.
Get the fuck
they
out
all
of
do,
here, bro.
You just said poverty. You just said that people in poverty, they commit crimes because of their situations. You just said people in poverty is,
and you took that as to mean all black people in poverty commit crimes.
Well, they do. That's the only way you survive in poverty. That's how I know you're not from it. All black people
hold up. Come out.
On his face.
Come out.
What the fuck?
Unless you're talking about stealing candy. The fuck is he talking about?
Hold up. Candy a crime?
Hold up.
Yes.
I had a nigga that went to. I had a homie of mine that went to jail for stealing a fucking do-rag and some Mentos, nigga.
No, fair, bro. But Vibe, keep in mind, like just because I grew up in the suburbs or whatever, that doesn't mean. I mean, shit. I had family members that were in those circumstances. It's not like just because we haven't gone through it doesn't mean we don't acknowledge it. Like I most definitely acknowledge it.
Bro, you acknowledge it because you want to be a part of the Negro bourgeoisies who feel like they have to be accepted by the black community, bro. I don't
feel like I have to be accepted by the black community because I am the black community. You know why? Because everybody. How the fuck are you gonna tell me I'm not black?
All right. Let me ask you a question.
I'm trying to get clips, bro.
Let me ask you a question. Now let me ask you a question. And I ask this question to a lot of people, right? Right. If you really gang, right? Let's set up a time for you to come out here, right? To Atlanta, Georgia, where I'm at. Let's go over to Zone 6, bro. Let's hang out over there for a few hours, bro. And you introduce yourself to the hood and let people know that you really, you know what I'm saying, you have empathy for them. You want to see them out of the hood.
How the fuck would I do that? They would look at me like, who the fuck is this square? No, they would look at me like, who the fuck is this square? Why would I just randomly go to Zone 6 and be like, hey,
making me not even believe you by laying out that scenario. What is that?
My nigga, I feel bad for you. I live in the suburbs.
Introduce
yourself.
I feel bad
for you.
What is that?
Hold on.
What type of scenario was that?
But this is what I'm saying. There's more of those people, that 80% that I'm talking about that lives in those areas that you're fucking afraid to go to, than there are of you. Period.
What the fuck?
Based on the numbers that you're saying, you're not of the black community that you're out here defending. You're not of it.
I don't. First of all, I don't feel like I have to be a part of anything to defend it if I think it's something to defend. What is this logic?
Let me put this into perspective. Hold up. Let me put this into perspective, right?
I'm not. I didn't grow up in the hood, so I can't see people for who they are because I didn't grow up in the hood.
Let me put this into perspective.
Where this conversation went to you, bro?
Nicole is funny. That's your wife, right? Nicole, somebody's wife is funny.
No.
Oh, okay.
Nah.
I'm sorry. I thought somebody. Okay,
She
my
a
bad.
homie. She a homie.
Yeah, she
Hey,
homie.
shout out to Nicole.
Let me-
Gangsta now. 10 minutes ago, he had a degree. I can show it to you. It's hanging right here. I can show it to you. You know.
He's multifaceted, but let me put this into perspective because I think I understand what Vibe is trying to tell y'all is this. When we think about empathy versus sympathy, and I think a lot of people, whether they know the definition of empathy or not, I think what people are actually doing is sympathizing, because if you truly have empathy for people that are living in these situations, you would not allow them to continue to feed into a culture or into a propaganda that is negative for them, right? Let me put it into example for you. When we talk about rap music and we talk about the rap music and you're saying, oh, they're just rapping about their experiences, this, that, and the third. All right. Well, if we think about manifestation, when you are constantly saying something over and over again, you are in the process of manifesting. Okay. And if we are going to continue to manifest hood shit by continuing to spread hood shit, then we're not really going to fix the problem. And see, this is why I say it is sympathy and not empathy, because sympathizing is, yeah, man, tell your story. We want to hear where you come. We want to hear what you're going through. Tell your story about how you were slanging drugs and how you had to fuck that bitch and how you had to kill that nigga, how you had to do that. Tell your story. It matters. We need to hear what's going on in the streets. That's sympathy. Okay, that's ear hustling onto somebody else's bullshit. Now, empathy is, nigga, pull your motherfucking pants up, get your shit together, get a real job. Okay, get a real motherfucking job.
No. I just got a crazy notification, bro. I'm trying to fix it. Yeah.
And stop pushing forth bullshit in the music. Stop fucking talking about all this hood shit. Nigga, Kendrick ain't been in the hood for how long? And he's still rapping about the shit? Rap about something new. Rap about where you're at now. Something that is more positive. But no, we want to get into this loop of, oh, we got to rap about we got to tell them about the struggle. How much more telling about the struggle do we have to fucking do? Once you paint the picture that the grass is motherfucking green, now we need to move on to some new shit, okay? We don't need to keep going over the same shit over and over again, calling it empathizing with people's situations because they grew up in poverty or they came from poverty. No, if we really give a damn about the culture or give a damn about these people living in these situations and are not just giving, lip service to it, we will tell them the real shit, okay? All these fucking gangbangers that a lot of black people be protecting. Okay, there's a lot of black people out here that will protect gangbangers. Stop doing that shit. Okay, they are a cancer to the society. If we really have empathy for these people, we would designate them as domestic terrorists and then treat them as such. It is empathy. Let me explain to you how. Because if I understand that what you've been living through is a literal hell, then I'm going to understand that, hey, we need to be solution based. We need to fix
exactly what I said. All y'all doing is chastising. When I said, I literally was giving solutions to the issue, and y'all like, no, tell black people to pull their pants up. Pulling your pants up ain't changing shit. I said, let's try to fix education. I said, invest into these communities.
At the same time, while you're promoting
stop rapping and pull up your pants.
At the same time,
while you're
broke. Listen, at the same time, while you're
uneducated.
Right, but you're still promoting sexy red and shit like that in a community, for a community that I'm telling you I've experienced,
talk about what
bro.
I said? I didn't say nothing about sexy red.
Address what I said. No, you said it on the last podcast, and you said it earlier. Why go for the low hanging fruit when I'm telling you, based on the culture, this is part of the problem.
She's
just saying no.
No, I'm saying y'all, all you're doing is chastising. You're not putting any solutions out. Sexy red, fuck her. Kendrick ain't talking about shit. Fuck him. That's not a solution.
That's the solution.
Can I make a quick point about Kendrick? And Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
I love that album.
Yeah, that entire album was basically about mental health. I
love that album. The album was amazing. No, like I would never shit
about the hood. I mean, you didn't say it, but she said he still rap about the hood, and that was the album that everybody shitted on. But
yeah, I love that album.
No, I love that album. The album is pretty dope. I love the message he had in there.
I'll put it like this, okay? If you could go and you could build me the best bridge, the most amazing bridge that ever existed, you suck one dick, you're a dick sucker. So that's all I'm saying, okay? If he didn't want to be known as rapping about hood shit, then he shouldn't have rapped about
Well,
hood
he
shit.
rapped about observing it.
How many? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much.
He rapped about breaking into houses and the shit that he done. He rapped about having his niggas go fuck up Drake. He had to, you know what I'm saying? He can't come back to the city because we gonna shoot up another nigga. Like, he rapped about this in the last album. So don't say he didn't rap about this shit. He's perpetuating more violence just like more people, because that's what he had to do to make that bag and become number one. And I respect that. It is what it is. He did what he had to do. It's bigger than that. And this is why I said, bro, I'm done fixing the building. Everything I said gonna come out of my mouth is gonna be detrimental to the black culture.
So my point is, it's gonna be
detrimental. Because
the only way I can help
him,
you just bitching about what?
No. Because see, this is what I'm saying. What you know about me, Logic? What do you know about me personally?
Not that much.
Exactly. So the actions that I do outside of what you hear me speak is for what you're stating. No, it's my actions are going to be 10 times bigger than my words will ever be.
I'm not denying that you do anything. I literally just said, what are we doing? Because right now, you can tell me what you do or have done if you would like. You don't have to.
And every time I open my mouth to have these Listen, no, every time I open my mouth to have this kind of conversation about black culture, about black communities, or whatever the fuck we want to call this, it's always going to be in a detrimental form. It's always going to be to shit on the shit that was experienced and the shit that is being experienced for kids and younger kids right now. They can hate me, I don't give a fuck. But what I am doing is putting in actual work to change shit. I don't go around here promoting this shit. That's what you won't hear me do, is promoting this.
Well, we had talking. I don't promote it. And you could say what you're doing, especially because I'm putting out suggestions and asking your suggestions. All you've been doing is chastising.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I can't speak on it because talking don't get anything done when it comes to how we fix something. The conversation was, is it bad or good? The conversation wasn't wrapped around how do we fix it?
Well, the conversation is progressing as well.
I mean, it's kind of stagnant, but I mean, it's a good stagnation.
Because you wanted to.
Yeah.
If you don't want to progress it, then it's going to be stagnant.
All right, how do we progress? All right, ask me a question on how do we progress it that's not wrapped around on how do I fix it.
I don't know. Me personally, it feels like we are not going to come to a consensus and we're going to keep going around in circles. I could be wrong.
No, you're wrong. You're definitely wrong, because I don't want to hear ask me a question about how I can fix it. State how you would fix it. Really fix it.
Those are my ideas.
No, I understand that you said that we could be doing something like this and that, but you never stated on what you would do.
You as an individual.
I first of all, this is the topic of this conversation. My whole identity doesn't revolve around saving black people. That's just what we're talking about. Okay. You seem, I don't know, I could be wrong. You might be more passionate about this than me. I'm not that passionate about making my life dedicated around fixing the black struggle.
So why talk about it?
I just said that's the topic of this conversation.
No, I'm saying, but you talked about it as if the stacks that you were speaking about, the disproportionate shit, actually fucking matter to you. So you're saying now they don't matter.
I didn't say, wait, so it's either you can't talk about something unless you only care about it?
When you're speaking when you're speaking in a format of protecting one side, that means you're protecting it. You're protecting a side. Saying is disproportionate means you stand up for what they are going through.
It means I'm acknowledging a statistical fact.
No, you're acknowledging something someone told you, but you really don't care about it.
No, I'm acknowledging a statistical fact because I was addressing something you said that was incorrect.
All right, but how can it be incorrect, brother? Listen what I'm saying, right? All right, what is your favorite color?
Purple.
What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Green? Purple. Favorite color, purple, right? If everything in the world was blue, how would you feel about it? You never seen your favorite color. How would you feel about it?
Wait, have I seen it before to know it's my favorite color?
Well, you seen it once. You fell in love with it, right? But you never get to see it again. Would you want to see it again?
Preferably.
Preferably, right? Because you love it. That's your favorite color. You want to see it again. If you really stand for something, bro, and that means the numbers you're spewing talking about disproportion of a certain race or a group, you don't just say that because you want to talk about numbers. You're saying that because you deep down feel something for it. You're connected to it.
Bro, that analogy didn't make any sense, bro.
Based on the fact that you have a passionate speech about this thing being this way, the same thing like last week. Are you saying that you really don't care about if trans kids don't actually care if they are complaining? No, those numbers don't make sense. Kids don't complain about transitioning because that's only a small proportion. You're speaking on these things as if you really have some way about them. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying fuck these things because I really really don't care, or I really care. I'm saying these things because I'm like, fuck this shit. This shit ain't working. Fuck this shit. I'm not spending no more time when I really care. So all I'm saying is, you can like something, you can really love something and speak on it passionately, or you can just speak on something passively and say, oh, that makes sense. I can understand why that's that. Oh, wow, we need to look into this more. But you're speaking on it as if you really care about disproportion. Am I wrong? He's speaking like he really care about black culture. Am I wrong?
I'm not gonna let something that's not true fly. That was what that was mostly about. But
how
again,
you know if something's true or not?
That's the topic of this conversation, and I'm engaged in the conversation, bro. This is such a tangent. Like I'm engaged in the conversation, and now you're like, why are you engaging in this conversation so passionate? Like, we talking about it. Come on, man. Like we talking about it. I'm engaged in the conversation full-throatedly.
What I'm saying, I don't understand. I don't understand why. It's my only question. I don't understand why defend something that you're really not that passionate about.
I'm not passionate to the point that I'm out here every day like the black activist. There's a range, there's a spectrum like autism. It's not you either all out or nothing. It's not. So
but shouldn't it be that way?
No, I don't agree with that.
No. Okay. Okay. What about you, Watts? You agree that you should be all in or not at all?
I don't think the world is black and white. No.
So based on that, so y'all I don't even know if I should even believe you, Sandra. Should I even believe them when they say they're down that hill if a civil war broke out? Because it don't sound like they really.
You said
about
I had
that
to
life.
choose a side. My real side is I wouldn't do it. You said if I have to choose a side. My real stance is I wouldn't want black and white people to go to war. You're not gonna catch me up on any contradictory stance.
It's about wanting the war. It's not that wasn't the premise of wanting or not wanting the war.
That was how I truly feel. But he said I had to choose one.
No, but that's not the premise of the question. The question wasn't whether you want it. It's not whether or not you want it, but then don't bring that up then, because it's irrelevant.
But he answered the question. No, he just tried to say, then why would they choose black people if you don't care? I had to make a decision.
This is where the disconnect is, because you had said something to the effect of, I don't want a war between black and white people, but that wasn't the premise of the conversation. The war is happening. That's the premise of the conversation.
But he previously answered the question before. He did.
I didn't avoid it.
This is where Vibe's point comes in. Okay, if you're going to choose black on that side, then there has to be some level of passion there. If you're choosing the black side of it, okay, then.
Yeah.
Yes, but you don't think there are levels to this shit?
No,
there are literally levels.
No, so you're saying there's levels to how much you're involved in civil activism?
Yes.
And you're only putting in the amount that doesn't get you hurt.
What? Whatever. If that's what your barometer is, then yes, I'm putting in enough to not get me hurt. If that's how you feel, yeah.
Because I mean, you're obviously not trying to go to Zone 6 and preach change.
No. Hold up. Time out. Wait. No.
You're not trying to go to Zone 6 and collectively get people together to understand what's really at stake. So
no.
You're talking about disproportion when it comes to police brutality, but you're really not passionate about it. You just want to have some nice facts and to look shiny on the desk. And stand and be able to collectively stand amongst real black people, because you're not really black. You're not.
Yo, that's really black. That is actually fucking asinine. Hold up. Vibe. First of all, hold up. No. I let you talk. Let me talk.
I'm good.
I let you talk. First of all, your example or random hypothetical about Zone 6, it was crazy, because why the fuck would I randomly go to Zone 6 and be like, hey, my nigga, look, I know you out here. I'm not. I live in the suburbs. I'm good, and you not. I have no reason to. I'm not saying.
Let me talk. Malcolm did it.
Let me talk.
Not in the fashion of what you talking about, bro.
Yes. I'm not opposed to going to Zone 6. If I had a friend, if I had family members that lived in Zone 6, I would visit them because that's where they live.
So you don't feel safe amongst your own people?
Say that again, you broke up.
You don't feel safe amongst your own people?
I didn't fucking say that. I just don't have a reason to go to Zone 6. I don't have a reason to go to India.
I said I wanted to take you, bro, so you can, But
you said you wanted to take me so that I can explain to you. I can explain to them what I explained to you, that I have empathy. Why the fuck would I do that? But also, let me just say this. Blackness is not defined by struggle or poverty. It's not. To
It
say
is.
say someone isn't black because they didn't grow up poor reduces black identity to pain, and that's fucking stupid. Being black is about shared history, cultural roots, etc., etc., etc. My mom and my dad did not have the life that I have right now. They worked their asses off to give me the opportunities that I have today. I want to do the same with my kids and future generations from time to time after time. I want to make sure everybody has a better life. Does that mean they're not black because they have a better life because I was able to provide that for them? No, it's fucking stupid.
You said you went to a PWI, right?
Yes.
Which means that you have a shared culture with mostly white people.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You have a shared history.
Oh my God.
Listen, you grew up, you are creating a shared history for your fucking kids.
I really hope you're trying to look for clips, bro. There's no way you just did that.
What are you talking about? Because even though I went to a PWI, my entire friend group was black. My entire friend group was black. I hang around black people. I have black friends.
You said shared history though, right?
Oh my God. Wait, 4 years of your life is history? 4 years of life is history?
Who are you sharing your history with?
You're talking about 4 years of somebody's life, right? 4 years?
It's history.
Maybe
it's
five?
History, ain't it?
Maybe
it's
five?
history, right? It's history, right?
So 5 years of your life trump everything else?
It's
a lot
history,
can happen in 5 years. Hold up. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna reduce time down to, it just happened in 5 years. A lot can happen in 5 years.
The rest of your life.
It can. It possibly can. People can go through a major change in the matter of.
Okay, so
wait, hold up. People can go through a major change in the matter of a fucking month, and it could change the whole trajectory of the rest of their life. So we're not going to pretend like 5 years, it's not comparable to the rest of your life. A single second could change you from second could change you from an able-bodied person to a fucking paraplegic.
Well, then I would say the moment that Vibe got out the hood, he wasn't black because he's saying this bullshit. I would say that. If that's what we're going off of.
And Sandra, I hear you.
Let's fucking do it.
But Sandra, I hear you. But what I was talking about had nothing to do with what you just said, because even though I went to a PWI, my friend group was black. I specifically hung around black people because we could relate.
I wasn't talking about what you said. I was talking about what Logic has said. I wasn't talking about what you said.
I'm sorry, Sandra. That's my bad.
Real quick, let's read some comments. Let's read some comments real quick.
4 years.
Let's read some comments real quick.
My bad, Sandra.
Because this is pretty funny.
We're going to wrap it in a second.
Yeah. Talk to this invalid Watts. What? Talk to this invalid Watts. Oh, he's telling you to talk to me, I guess. Yeah, I appreciate that. Good comment. Watts is on a roll, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, what else we got? It says, wait, if you are born black, you are not black? Hey, depends on how you identify, right? We got some people identifying as little boys or girls when they should be girls and they boys. I mean, that works. I mean, why not, right? Watts talked that Wesley Pipes. What? Wesley Pipes? That's a porn star, ain't it?
That sounds like Moosey comment.
He's
trolling. He's 99% of the time he's trolling.
Somebody said I'm the blackest one in the room. Some PWIs are very black. Okay.
That is actually true though. That is dead ass true. Like ODU in Virginia, it might as well be an HBCU.
We also got a super chat too. JF, that's your homie.
I don't know.
Hey, JF really showing out. That's my homie.
The end of the conversation is always you ain't really black, been that way for decades. I agree. Most light-skinned people always had that their whole life growing up. You ain't really black, so I mean it's nothing new.
It's not.
Yeah. Somebody also said they hope this podcast fails because Watts and Logic is hanging around some dumbasses. Yeah. So that was actually a comment. My official Mama Shrimp said, "Stop yelling." Yeah. I pray this is your highest rated episode because all black people want to agree. Hey, yeah.
He said it's nice to see blacks are not a monolith. No, we never claim that. No.
So, he said just on me. Okay. Yeah, hey, listen. At the end of the day, listen, and I just want to put this out there before we get up out of here. The conversation needs to happen this way because honestly, I don't think people are honest. I don't think people are truly honest. I think they like to perceive or bring their representative to conversations, which I think Logic and Watts do most of the time. They just bring their representatives. It's like when they meet a girl.
Stop doing that, bro.
Really...
Just talk, bro. Stop doing that.
I'm being honest.
I'm being honest too. Stop doing that. Just talk. Just say what you want to say. Don't say I think y'all doing this. I'm not finna sit and be like, yeah, I think Vine's full of shit when he talk. Just say what you want to say.
We was conspiracy theorists the whole time. We brought up something. So why can't I point out?
If you call me a liberal or something, or you first of all, Sandra
that's
owns conspiracy theories.
Listen,
Sandra owns it, which I respect.
You know what I'm saying?
She said so many times, I need to get a tenfold hat.
I don't think y'all faking how you feel. That's different than saying you
are essentially calling us fake.
That, bro.
No, I'm saying what I feel. If I can't say what I feel, then I don't think
we are too, and assume the same.
And we are too. You are insinuating that we are not saying how I'm yelling because I feel this way.
Listen, I don't care about you yelling. That's the emotional stuff. I don't care about that. I am saying that
I'm just animated.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. No, I feel you. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, what I'm stating is that how I see you all is the fact that I know that there's deeper conversations here, that the truth has not fully been exposed.
No, you just think that we agree with you and we don't.
No, I don't want you to agree with me. But y'all are not saying the truth. Y'all are doing baseline shit when it comes to this. When I ask a question, it's baseline. Oh, I don't know if I'm talking about America. You know, I don't really want to say it. Say what the fuck you feel is all I'm saying.
We
say
are,
what
and
you
you're like,
really
you're
feel.
lying.
Nah, bro.
We're saying exactly what we think, and you're saying, y'all they telling the truth.
We're men. Us three are men. Sandra has been open enough to say, I feel like she's been honest about what she's saying with no filters.
It just comes off as like, if you agree with me, you saying how you feel.
No, and the moment she goes down, a moment she goes down a certain path, that's another conspiracy theory. We're not doing that. You're calling her a liar. You're calling her fake. That's what you're doing. You're doing the same thing to me.
I'm not calling, just because I say that's a conspiracy theory, that doesn't mean I'm necessarily calling you a liar.
What the fuck you're saying?
We believe she believes it. What do you, bro?
Yes,
I
believe that she believes that.
I believe she believes it.
I believe that both of you believe it.
I've never once said you don't believe what you're saying.
Well, let me ask you a question. Is that a negative annotation on conspiracy theory? Is it a negative annotation?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
All right, flat Earth is real. Is that true or false, or is that a conspiracy theory? I'm just asking. I'm just trying to get a preference of what is what.
What do you mean?
We all know the Earth isn't flat, bro. But it is a conspiracy theory.
It's a simulation.
Thank you.
It's a simulation.
See,
we're living in a simulation.
But I'm not calling you guys liars. You genuinely believe some of that thing. I don't believe it, but that's fine. We don't have to believe the same things. That's totally fine.
But that's totally separate than saying you're not saying something you believe.
Yes, you are blatantly calling us fake and liars.
Basically, what I'm saying is, when I'm asking real questions, what I feel is real, I don't really want to walk through that door, which is fine. But say that you don't want to walk through that door versus trying to sugarcoat the answer that you don't really want to give. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
All right. I think we need to go ahead and wrap this up on Black culture.
Final thoughts?
Well, you was giving yours. I just said stop trying to condescend. While you was giving yours, I thought that you had started. All I said was stop being condescending.
I would never be condescending.
Well, then that needs to be a two-way street, then, brother.
Yeah, it's straight up, bro. I'm being exactly what I'm receiving.
But we're not.
If you don't want people to be if you don't want to be condescended to, don't be condescending as well.
Wait. When I think about it, when I was bringing up like trans stuff, y'all was animated too. Like, oh my god, how could you that's?
It's not about being animated. It's not about being animated.
So where was nobody condescending?
Where was the condescension? Like, how are we condescending?
Because okay, let's not mince words. Okay, I might be a woman, but we're not gonna talk like we women at this panel. Okay, we're gonna be real direct with the shit. All right. So as much as I own the fact that a lot of people will look at the things that I say as, oh, you just a crazy person, or you just a conspiracy theorist. Let's not pretend like the connotation of conspiracy theorist is a negative one. Let's not pretend like the connotation of conspiracy theorist is some lunatic in their bedroom saying that the Candyman is the one who's raising the taxes because Santa Claus, didn't want to pay the bill. Like, let's not pretend like we don't know what the connotation of it is. And as much as I own it, because I recognize that that's how people that aren't really digging or willing to go in that rabbit hole are willing to say, I'm not going to pretend like that connotation doesn't exist and that that's not the connotation that y'all were speaking to when you say, it's that conspiracy theorist shit. It has to be a two-way street, because that is a form of being condescending. It is a form of it. I just don't really give a fuck. That's why it don't bother me, but it still is what it is.
Okay. So you said that's condescending. When I say conspiracy theories are literally theories that have yet to be proven. Hold up, let me finish. When I say oh, that's a conspiracy theory, I personally do not have a negative connotation behind it. I may understand what other people feel and what other people say, but I'm not being condescending. I'm just calling it for what it is. I'm not saying
even in the context of the conversation, it's still that, Watts.
I'm telling you how I feel and what I meant.
What I want you to understand is that I really don't give a fuck. Like,
no, I understand, but I feel like you guys are putting words in my
point
mouth.
of view, but it's not really putting words in your mouth. It's just when you say things in the context of when you're saying them, you can't say, oh, well, when I meant it like this. But if we go back and look at the tapes, it is said in a condescending manner. So whether or not you feel like that was the case or not, when we go back and look at the tapes, that is the context of how it was used. So, whether maybe that's just an issue of the words that are used or not saying what you're thinking, because that happens to me too, where I'll be having all these thoughts and only like 50 or 60% of them actually come out of my mouth. So maybe there was a percentage that you didn't actually say or emote, but based on what was said and the context of which it was said in a condescending manner. But like I said, I really don't give a fuck. You can say all the condescending shit you want. I'll just give that same energy back and we'll shake hands at the end of the day. I really don't care. I'm not taking any of this shit personally.
Shit up, baby.
Yeah.
Shit up.
All right. Yeah, because I mean, I'll just leave it at that. Sure.
Hey, let's get the final thoughts. Since you're already talking, let's get the final thoughts from you though, overall.
I pretty much already gave my final thought when I went on that clip worthy yelling spree.
Yeah, I'm gonna clip you cussing me the fuck out.
Red as hell, boy.
The thumbnail gonna be me like this, and what's like,
bro, that's the only thing about being light skinned that sucks. Like when I'm really animated, I do get red. I do.
Me too.
It's weird.
Yeah, funny.
Cold. When I get cold, I turn red too.
So who's next? Who's gonna go next? Who's gonna get their final thoughts on this? You can call it out whoever you want to go.
The host should probably go last since it's on your shit. Also, as far as my final thoughts on it, going back to that idea of the building, a building that's all fucked up. My personal stance, and this is a little bit out there, I don't want to stir up more shit, but I think we need to demolish that motherfucker because it's not going to work. We could do the little, fixes here and there, put a painting up, maybe paint a wall. The foundation is fucked. So the only way we can really fix that is by ostracizing the people that continue to promote negativity and degeneracy in the Black community, and then really reclaim our image and make those delineations. Okay, that word was fucking me up. Delineations. We need to make those delineations between us and them. Okay. And some people, they just gonna have to be chalked up to the game. Okay. I'm not gonna be sitting over here carrying the bag for degenerate ass niggas that don't want to get their shit together and want to continue to perpetuate the very images that were propagandized before we even started engaging in these behaviors. Because understand, during Jim Crow, they were already putting forth that propaganda that we see today, where it's like, oh, Black people are aggressive. Oh, they want to take the white women. Oh, they want to steal. They want to do this. So to land my plane here, I think we need to start fresh. Okay, we need to allow the system to handle those, which they're not going to want to do. Okay, that's why you have a lot of people that they're Black, they commit crimes, they get put right back on the street so they can continue to commit crimes because they like those statistics and they want to continue to feed into them because it feeds into that narrative, that propaganda, XYZ. But on the surface of it, gangs, they need to be designated as a domestic terrorist group and then handled as such. Degenerate ass Black people, they need to be ostracized from the community. You cannot come to the cookout, motherfucker. You don't even get a plate at the door. Fuck you. That's the energy that we need to have in order to rebuild this house on the values and standards that I would say is the root of real Black culture. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, clap that up. That's what's up for sure. For sure. All right. You want to go Logic, or you want me to jump in? It's on you.
Wait, oh yeah, you go because she said I was going last. I wasn't sure if you
Okay.
was content with what you said.
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna say that. Let me just say this. I'm not gonna be too long. All right. I've seen both sides and all sides, and I've seen and threw rocks at the glass house that I'm living in, and cracked my own windows a few times, broke them, replaced them. It is what it is. But I've seen both sides of the fence: the green grass, the darker grass, the no grass, the dirt roads. I've seen it all. In this short life that I've currently lived, when it comes to what we would consider Black culture or Black community. I don't think there is a culture, but I do think there's a community. There's only take 3 people to make a community, so I definitely think there's a Black community. It might not be flourished with the hospitals and police stations and fire departments and all of that nice stuff, water infrastructure, sewages, trash transportation and landfills. It might not have that type of community, but there is a Black community, and which is a strong Black community based off of what you stated earlier, Logic, which is skin, pigmentation, which people like to call melanin, and make that, a big part of what Black culture is. So yeah, I agree with the community part of the Black community, what we would consider culture, I guess. But as you mentioned, the Leaning Building is no different than the Leaning Tower of Pisa. At some point, they realized they had to stop building before it just fell over on itself and no longer was able to stand. And if you try to build another way, it's just going to cause a structure that's not feasible to even stand on, or live in, or be within, because you never know when that motherfucker gonna crash, right? I refuse to stand in that building any longer because I've been in there long enough. I've been in there for 30 plus years, and I feel like the floors are never ending, and this shit is just, keep going in circles. The stairwells just keep going in circles. I keep ending up exactly where I started, and it doesn't feel good to keep doing that. So for me, I'm looking at this as, if anything is going to change, I'm with Sandra, the building has to be demolished. The root has to be pulled up and the weed has to be extracted. Not saying we need to eradicate what we consider Black people. We have to eradicate what we consider Black culture. That's what I'm saying. And we're not the only culture that needs to do that. There's probably plenty of cultures. I'm speaking from the one that we're standing on as our pigmentation dictates what we consider Black in this conversation. So on that basis, I am for change, but I'm not going to be a leader of change because none of them motherfuckers live to actually talk about it. So on that basis, it's on you, Logic.
Yeah, I ain't gonna be too long. I do believe that everybody can't go. I never was against that. I think that's true, but I think that it's a far smaller number than maybe what y'all give it to. I think the people that can't go is the ones that's beyond saving. I don't think most Black people are, or most people in general, are beyond saving. I think that everybody just dealt a different hand, and just like in school with kids, everybody learn differently. Everybody gonna need a different approach to be helped in the manner that's fit for that person. And I'm not saying that's easy or even attainable, but I think that should be the goal. I think the goal should be to help as many people as possible, not otherize and ostracize people due to circumstances that they're in. Give them a chance. I don't know what that looks like. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if eradicating rap would fix issues. Maybe, maybe not. But I do think that the amount of people that can't go is not a big number. It's the psychopaths and the people that sociopaths and things as such. That's what I'm talking about when people can't go. I'm not just talking about people placed in a circumstance and having to live off that. I think a lot of people, if they're in their right mind, if they're shown something better is attainable and it's in their purview, and it's an overarching change that they can see, I think more people will be willing to change. Again, not everybody, even the ones that can be saved, might resist, but that's it.
Yep, I respect that. No, for sure. I think, I like that.
So before we get out of here real quick, we go in the poll. So 38 votes. Shout out to y'all. 123 in the chat right now.
What's up? Can we hit that like button?
Total.
Can we hit that like button?
Yeah, appreciate y'all kept this bitch over 100 the whole time, man. Appreciate it and everybody.
Wow.
Communities coming together for real. So at 38 votes, we got 68% for masculinity. Is it evolving or is it under attack? So
Ooh,
that's
I
what's
like
gonna
it.
be the
That'll
next
be
topic.
good.
Yeah,
I
And we
feel
and
like
we
that's
on
that's a
make sure we
lighthearted one, low key.
it
hey
should.
we on
It
watch
should be.
channel, right?
No,
We
we
on
on my
watch channel.
channel.
Logics,
We on,
yeah.
Yes.
We on
no,
my
Next
no,
channel.
week.
next week.
Oh yeah,
Watch
next week. Yes,
Yeah.
next week's watch
that's a
channel.
perfect
So
for his channel too.
yeah, hey, hit that
That's
link if you're
perfect for
not
his
following
channel.
Watch right now. Make sure y'all follow Watch channel. It's in the description, so y'all can make sure y'all get that notification when we post that we're going to be going live next week. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. Hit all of us up because we're gonna be hot potato in this panel. So if you want to make sure you are kept abreast to all of these panels, make sure you follow all of us, and we will continue to host on each other's channels and grow the podcast or panel.
Yep, love it. All right. With that being said, I'm up out of here, man. It was a pleasure, and I appreciate y'all.
Yep.
It's always nice.
See y'all next week, man. Peace.
No hard feelings.
We out.